Imagine going through life thinking you're doing everything right, only to wake up one day and realize you've been avoiding the truth. Not because you're weak, not because you're a coward, but because no one ever told you what to really look for. Most men go through life with blinders on, working hard, chasing success, trying to be enough, without ever stopping to face the truths that actually shape them. But here's the reality. Life doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care if you're tired, uncertain, or overwhelmed. It demands strength, clarity, and brutal honesty. And if you ignore that truth for too long, it will hit you hard when you're least prepared for it. Today, that ends. Today, you're going to face 40 brutal truths that most men never look in the eye. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because the man who dares to see the truth is the one who becomes unbreakable. These truths are not meant to comfort you. They're meant to wake you up, to sharpen you, to force you to stop making excuses and start living with purpose. So before we begin, I want you to make a decision. Write this in the comments. I choose truth over comfort. You're not just typing words, you're making a vow to yourself, to face what others avoid, to grow where others stay stuck. So write it down, say it out loud, burn it into your mind. Now take a breath, and let's begin. Number 1, your trauma is not your fault, but it's still your responsibility. Listen, life has hurt you. Maybe it was when you were young. Maybe it happened yesterday. Maybe you carry pain so deep that you've stopped talking about it because you think no one would understand. That pain wasn't your choice, it wasn't your fault, but now it's yours, and it's your job to deal with it. You have 2 options. You can hold on to that pain and let it define you, or you can face it, carry it, and grow stronger because of it. No one else is going to do it for you. No one is coming to fix what happened. No one is going to take that weight off your shoulders. It's yours now, so you either carry it with strength or it breaks you slowly over time. Some men stay stuck for years because they keep asking, "Why did this happen to me?" That's the wrong question. You're not here to understand the chaos of life. You're here to master yourself in the middle of it. What happened to you may never make sense, but what you do with it from this point forward, that's where your power begins. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus was born a slave. He was beaten, controlled, owned. But he didn't stay bitter. He didn't live his life pointing fingers. He took ownership of his mind, even when he had no control over his body. He turned his pain into philosophy, into strength, into clarity. That's what you must do. Carrying trauma isn't weakness. Pretending it doesn't exist is. You don't heal by hiding from it. You heal by facing it, slowly, day by day, even when it burns. That doesn't mean you forget it. It means you stop letting it run your life from the shadows. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Some days it will hurt more than you thought possible. But the man you become on the other side of that pain, that man is dangerous. Not because he's violent, but because he's unshakable, he's calm, he's focused, he's forged by fire. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be responsible. You need to stop blaming your past for the choices you make now. Maybe someone abandoned you. Maybe you were lied to, betrayed, humiliated. But if you keep repeating the same damage in your own life, that's on you, not them. Take a hard look at your habits. Are you drinking it away? Avoiding it with distractions? Hiding behind excuses? That's not healing. That's running. And the longer you run, the heavier it gets. So what do? You face it. You write about it. You talk to someone. You sit in silence and feel the weight of it instead of avoiding it. You train. You read. You get stronger, not just physically, but mentally. You become the kind of man who does not break every time life punches him in the chest. There's no glory in staying wounded. The world is already full of men who carry their trauma like chains. Be the man who breaks his, not for applause, not for attention, but because you know it's time. It's time to stop letting your pain control your future. It's time to take responsibility for your healing. Not because it's fair, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You are not broken, you are becoming. Now take the weight and walk forward. Number 2, no one owes you closure. Let's be real. People will hurt you. They'll leave without saying goodbye. They'll lie, betray, walk away, or disappear when you needed them most. And after they're gone, you'll be left with questions. You'll want answers. You'll want a reason. You'll crave some final words, something to help it all make sense. But here's the truth you need to face. You may never get it, and you don't need it. No one owes you closure. Not your ex, not your father, not the friend who ghosted you, not the person who did you wrong and never looked back. Waiting for them to explain themselves is like waiting for a storm to apologize for the damage it caused. It's not going to happen. And even if it did, would it really change anything? The pain already happened. The damage is done. The only thing left now is what you choose to do with it. Some men stay stuck for years, replaying the same conversation in their heads, hoping for that one message, that one apology, that one moment that makes the pain make sense. But that moment rarely comes, and even if it does, it rarely satisfies, because closure doesn't come from them, it comes from you. You have to close your own chapters. You have to choose to stop rereading the same page just because you didn't like how it ended. That's your job. That's your power. The Stoics didn't waste their time chasing what was out of their control. They focused only on what was within. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. And that's what closure really is. It's not a conversation. It's a decision. It's the moment you say, "This hurt me. I don't like how it ended, but I accept it, and I'm moving forward anyway." You're not weak for wanting peace. You're human. But peace is not something you're given. It's something you create. You don't need someone to validate your pain in order to let go of it. You don't need them to feel bad. You don't need their permission to move on. You just need to stop giving them space in your mind. They've already taken enough. Don't give them more. It's not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about deciding it doesn't get to hurt you forever. That's where real strength is. That's where Stoic discipline lives. Not in coldness, but in control. Ask yourself this. How much time have you already spent hoping for an explanation that never came? How many hours, days, months have you wasted carrying confusion that isn't yours to fix? Let it go. Not for them, for you. When you release the need for closure, you take your power back. You stop waiting. You stop needing. You start building. That's when things change. That's when you go from wounded to wise. And here's the truth that most men ignore. Closure is not something you get. It's something you give yourself. You look in the mirror and say, "This didn't end how I wanted, but it ends now, and I'm walking forward with my head high and my hands clean." No one owes you closure, so stop chasing it. Create it and move on. Number 3, you might never forgive yourself, and that's okay. There are things you've done that you wish you could take back. Words you said in anger. People you hurt. Opportunities you wasted. Times you stayed silent when you should have spoken, or acted when you should have walked away. And now you carry it, quietly, heavily, every day. And maybe people tell you, just forgive yourself. But here's the truth. What if you can't? What if every time you try, that guilt comes back stronger? What if there's a part of you that doesn't want to let it go? Because deep down, you feel like you don't deserve to. Let me tell you something most people won't. You might never fully forgive yourself, and that's okay. Some things stay with you. They should. They're reminders, lessons, scars. They shape the man you become. Forgiveness isn't always about wiping the slate clean. It's about learning how to carry the weight without letting it crush you. You don't have to erase your past to move forward. You don't have to feel healed to start building. You just have to stop letting your mistakes chain you down. The Stoics didn't teach perfection. They taught ownership. They knew humans are flawed, that we all fall short. But what matters is what you do after. Do you run from it, numb it, deny it? Or do you face it, own it, and use it to sharpen your character? Marcus Aurelius wrote reminders to himself, not because he was proud of who he was every day, but because he knew how easy it was to slip, to forget his principles, to act in ways he would regret. And yet, he didn't let those moments define him. He used them. That's the key. You may never look in the mirror and say, I fully forgive myself. But you can look in the mirror and say, I refuse to keep punishing myself. I will use my pain. I will do better. I will live in a way that honors the lessons I've learned. That's what strength looks like. Some days that guilt will still whisper in your ear. It'll try to remind you of who you used to be. But instead of trying to silence it, listen and respond. Say, yes, I did that, but I'm not that man anymore. I'm building someone better now. You don't need to feel perfect to be improving. You don't need peace to have purpose. And maybe, one day, you'll look back and realize that you've made peace with yourself, not because you forgot, but because you transformed. But if that day never comes, it's still okay. You're not here to be free from regret. You're here to rise above it. So stop waiting to feel forgiven before you move forward. Live like someone who has already paid the price and is now building something better with what's left. You may never fully forgive yourself, and that doesn't make you broken. It makes you real. Now keep going. Number 4. The world doesn't need your potential. It demands your action. You've got potential. People have told you that, right? Maybe since you were young. You're smart. You're talented. You could be something great. And maybe you believed it. Maybe you still do. You walk around with all this untapped power, all these ideas, dreams, and plans in your head. But here's the brutal truth. Potential means nothing without action. The world doesn't reward what you could do. It rewards what you actually do. You don't get credit for thinking about it. You don't get points for planning it. You don't get respect for dreaming. You only get results from doing. Too many men hide behind potential like it's a shield. They say, I'm just not ready yet, or I could do that if I wanted to, or worse, one day I will. But one day turns into weeks, then months, then years. And before they know it, their potential becomes regret. Understand this. The longer you wait to act, the heavier that potential becomes. It turns into pressure, into anxiety, into shame. You start to feel like a fraud because deep down you know you're capable of more, but you're not doing anything about it. That's the weight of unused talent, and it crushes slowly. The Stoics weren't interested in what you claimed you could do. They were interested in how you lived, what you practiced, what you proved through your behavior. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, stop talking, show it. Your ideas don't matter until they become action. Your values don't matter until they become choices. Your goals don't matter until they become steps taken, one by one, day after day. You think you have time? You don't. Time is running out. Every day you delay is a day you never get back. While you hesitate, someone else is moving. While you wait to feel ready, someone else is building. The world moves on with or without you. And here's the thing, no one is coming to unlock your potential for you. That's your job. You either use it or you waste it. And the world does not feel sorry for wasted talent. It forgets it. You don't need more motivation. You need discipline. You don't need the perfect moment. You need to make this moment count. Start small. Start ugly. Start afraid. Just start. Write the thing. Build the thing. Say the truth. Take the step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. The man who acts will always outrun the man who waits. Potential is a promise, but action is proof. So ask yourself, are you going to keep talking about what you could be? Or are you going to show the world who you are? The world doesn't care about your potential. It wants your action. Give it. Number 5. You're not as virtuous as you think. Let's get honest. You like to believe you're a good man, a disciplined man, someone who stands by his values. Maybe you even pride yourself on being better than the average guy, more thoughtful, more loyal, more honest. You tell yourself you're strong, moral, driven. But here's the truth, you're probably not as virtuous as you think. And that's not an insult, it's a warning. Because the moment you believe you're already good enough, you stop growing. You stop questioning your own behavior. You start walking through life with a quiet arrogance, blind to your own weaknesses. And that's when you become dangerous. Not to others, but to yourself. Look at your actions, not your intentions, not your self-image, your actual behavior. You say you value discipline, but how often do you break your own word? You say you value honesty, but how many lies do you tell to protect your pride? You say you're strong, but how easily are you shaken by stress, by opinions, by discomfort? Virtue isn't about who you believe you are. It's about who you choose to be, especially when no one's watching, especially when it's hard, especially when it costs you something. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men to ever live, wrote daily reminders to himself to stay humble, stay focused, stay aware of his flaws. He never said, "I've arrived." He said, "Be strict with yourself." That's the mindset. Most men compare themselves to those doing worse. At least I'm not like him. At least I don't do that. But that's weak. That's lazy. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And if the answer is the same, then you're not moving forward. You're just floating. You want to be virtuous? Then test yourself. Not with words, with actions, with discomfort, with honesty. Wake up earlier than you want to. Say no to that easy escape you always run to. Admit when you're wrong, even when it stings your ego. Do what's right when it's invisible and unrewarded. That's where virtue lives. Don't confuse being nice with being good. They're not the same. A virtuous man isn't just polite. He's disciplined. He's sharp. He's honest when it's uncomfortable. He's consistent when no one's clapping for him. He doesn't rely on how he feels. He relies on what he's committed to. And most importantly, he never stops checking himself. He knows he can slip. He knows ego creeps in quietly. So he stays alert. He reviews his day. He reflects on his flaws, not to shame himself, but to improve constantly. So if you're thinking, this point isn't about me, then it probably is. Virtue is not a trophy you earn once. It's a standard you uphold every day. You are not as virtuous as you think, and that should fuel you, not shame you. Because the moment you think you've made it, you stop becoming who you were meant to be. Stay sharp, stay humble, stay honest, and keep climbing. Number 6. Your emotions are not your identity. You feel angry, you feel anxious, you feel sad, lost, maybe even broken. That's okay. You're human. You're going to feel things, deep things, dark things. But here's what you need to understand. What you feel is not who you are. Let that sink in. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your guilt or shame. These emotions pass through you. They do not define you. The problem is, most men never learn how to separate what they feel from who they are. They say things like, I'm a failure, instead of, I feel like I failed. Big difference. One is identity. The other is experience. The Stoics understood this perfectly. They didn't reject emotion. They studied it. They faced it. They knew that emotions are natural, but they also knew emotions are temporary. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, don't feel. He said, don't be ruled by feeling. And that's what too many men miss. They think if they feel weak, they are weak. If they feel sad, they are broken. If they feel lost, they are lost. But you are not your passing storms. You are the one who stands through them. That's what strength looks like. It's not about being numb. It's about not being owned. Because when you believe that your emotions are your identity, you start living in reaction. You let your feelings steer the wheel. One bad day, and suddenly you tell yourself a story that you're worthless. One mistake, and you decide you're a failure. One heartbreak, and you think you're unlovable. That's not clarity, that's confusion. Think about this. A wave rises, crashes, and fades. But the ocean remains. You are the ocean. Your emotions are the waves. Let them rise, let them fall. Just don't forget who you are underneath them. When anger shows up, pause. Don't become it. When fear comes, breathe. Don't serve it. When sadness hits, feel it. But don't feed it with false narratives. Don't turn a hard moment into a permanent identity. Emotions are signals, not definitions. They're meant to inform you, not enslave you. Use them, learn from them, but never let them name you. You want power? Then learn to sit with your emotions without letting them control your words, your actions, or your beliefs about yourself. That's emotional discipline. That's Stoicism in practice. And no, it's not easy. You'll fail, you'll react, you'll regret. But the goal isn't to become emotionless. The goal is to become anchored. A man who feels deeply but still chooses his direction, who hears the noise in his head but listens to his principles instead. So, the next time you feel like you're drowning in emotion, remember, you are not the storm. You are the ship. Steer, don't drift. Your emotions are real, but they are not you. Hold the line. Number 7. You are complicit in your own distractions. Let's not sugarcoat this. You say you want focus. You say you want clarity. You say you're tired of wasting time, tired of always feeling behind, tired of living without momentum. But here's the truth. You're not just a victim of distraction. You're a participant. You allow it. You choose it. And as long as you keep pretending it's out of your control, you'll never break free from it. Your phone doesn't control you. You reach for it. Netflix doesn't trap you. You click next episode. Social media doesn't steal your time. You give it willingly, over and over. You don't accidentally scroll for hours. You know exactly what you're doing. Distraction isn't forced on you. It's an escape you've made comfortable. Because deep down, focus is hard. Stillness is uncomfortable. Silence is where the real thoughts live, the ones you don't want to face. So you run into noise, into stimulation, into whatever keeps you busy enough to feel like you're doing something without actually doing what matters. The Stoics were clear on this. If you want peace, if you want purpose, you must guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, and still, he reminded himself, you must reclaim your time. He knew the world would always pull at him. He knew his mind could wander, but he also knew that every moment spent lost in distraction was a moment stolen from what truly mattered. And what about you? What have you traded your attention for lately? Another notification? Another pointless video? Another dopamine hit that leaves you feeling emptier afterward? Every distraction you indulge in is a vote against your future. Every moment you give away carelessly is one you can never get back. Yes, the world is loud. Yes, the algorithms are strong, but your responsibility is stronger if you choose to own it. Discipline isn't just about what you do, it's about what you refuse to do. Silence your phone, close the tabs, turn off the background noise, sit with your thoughts. Do the real work. Will it be uncomfortable? Yes, that's the point. You've trained your brain to expect constant input. Now you have to untrain it. Don't wait for focus to magically appear. Build it, strengthen it, reclaim it. You want clarity? You want momentum? Then stop numbing yourself with distractions and start showing up for your actual life. Because the hard truth is this: you are complicit in your own distractions. You open the door to them. You make them feel at home. And only you can kick them out. Do it before another day disappears. Number 8. Avoidance is a disguised addiction. You think you're just taking a break, just relaxing, just trying to feel better. But here's the truth most men won't face. You're not resting. You're running. Every time you scroll for hours, binge another show, drown yourself in games, porn, drinking, pointless conversation, you're not relaxing. You're avoiding. Avoiding responsibility. Avoiding your thoughts. Avoiding your life. And the worst part? You've made it normal. Avoidance feels harmless. It feels like nothing. But it's not nothing. It's slow suicide. It's death by distraction. You're numbing the discomfort instead of dealing with it. And when you numb pain, you also numb purpose. You think addiction is only about substances? No. Addiction is anything you use repeatedly to escape yourself. And avoidance is the most accepted addiction there is, because it doesn't ruin your life overnight. It eats away at it quietly, silently, one wasted day at a time. The Stoics didn't run from discomfort, they walked into it. They believed the obstacle is the way, that the thing you're avoiding is the thing you must face. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life, but here's the catch. There is no freedom in avoidance, only chains you refuse to see. And don't kid yourself, this has nothing to do with time. You say you're too tired, too busy, too stressed, but somehow there's always time to avoid, always time to distract. The truth is, if you have time to scroll, you have time to build. You're just choosing not to. You avoid your goals because they're hard. You avoid your emotions because they hurt. You avoid the truth because it forces you to change. But avoidance doesn't make the weight go away. It just makes it grow in the dark. So how do you stop? You face what you're running from. You sit with it. You look it in the eye. You write it down. You speak it out loud. You do the hard thing, the uncomfortable thing, the thing that makes your chest tighten and your palms sweat. That's where the breakthrough is. Not in comfort, in confrontation. Replace escape with effort. Replace distraction with direction. Replace numbing with action. And yes, it'll be hard. You'll want to quit. But every time you resist the urge to run, you get stronger. Every time you stay present with discomfort, you take back control. You don't need more entertainment, you need more courage. You don't need another escape, you need a mission. Because the man who avoids pain never grows, but the man who faces it, he becomes fireproof. So ask yourself honestly, what are you avoiding, and what is it costing you? Avoidance is not peace, it's fear in disguise, and fear grows stronger every time you feed it. Kill the habit, face the hard thing, choose action over escape, every single time. Number 9, inner peace isn't pleasant. It's often boring, even painful. Everyone talks about wanting peace. I just want to feel calm. I want a quiet mind. I want inner peace. But let me ask you something. Do you really? Or do you just want a softer kind of comfort? Because real peace, the kind that lasts, is not fireworks. It's not dopamine. It's not a highlight reel. It's quiet. It's simple. And often, it's boring. Sometimes, it's even painful. Let's be honest. You've been trained by noise, constant input, notifications, quick entertainment, fast answers. You're used to being overstimulated. So when things finally get quiet, when there's no one to text, no music playing, no screen glowing, you start to itch. You get restless. You say you're bored. But that boredom, that's your mind detoxing from chaos. That discomfort, that's your nervous system coming off the high of constant distraction. And it feels awful at first. You're not used to peace. You're addicted to stimulation. And when you start to let go of the noise, when you sit in silence, when you don't reach for your phone, when you don't chase the next thrill, you meet yourself. The real you, the thoughts you've been avoiding, the memories you buried, the truth you don't want to deal with. That's where peace begins, not in running, but in sitting still. The Stoics didn't chase comfort, they chased clarity. Marcus Aurelius sat alone every morning, writing to himself about death, duty, suffering, and self-control. Not because it felt good, but because it kept him grounded. Epictetus told his students, "If you want peace, stop trying to control everything. Stop escaping your emotions. Stop chasing things outside of you. Inner peace doesn't come from getting everything you want. It comes from needing less. It doesn't come from always feeling good. It comes from learning to be still when you don't. And yes, it will feel boring. Because drama is addictive. And without it, your life might feel empty at first. But that emptiness is space. And space is where real growth begins. Inner peace is choosing not to respond to everything that pokes at you. It's watching your anger rise and letting it fall. It's hearing the noise, and not reaching for it. It's walking away from arguments you could win, because peace is worth more than being right. But don't confuse peace with weakness. Peace is power under control. Peace is restraint. Peace is choosing silence, even when your ego is screaming. So, if you're chasing a life that's always exciting, always intense, always loud, you're not chasing peace, you're chasing distraction. And that's fine, until it burns you out. At some point you'll realize that all the scrolling, chasing, pleasing, proving, it never made you calm. It just kept you busy. And when you finally get tired of that, you'll sit in silence. And it will hurt, and it will bore you. And that's exactly where the work begins. Inner peace isn't pleasant. It's earned. It's simple. It's steady. And most of all, it's yours when you're finally ready to stop running from yourself. Number 10. Growth feels like failure until hindsight sets in. You think growth feels good? Like motivation, like momentum, like success. It doesn't. Not at first. Not in the middle. Growth, real growth, feels like confusion, like chaos, like you're doing everything wrong, like you're falling apart. And here's the truth most men ignore. You don't feel yourself growing while it's happening. You feel like you're failing. You look around and nothing makes sense. The habits you used to rely on no longer work. The people you used to fit in with start to feel distant. The routines, the beliefs, the life you built, it starts to crack. That's not weakness, that's the process. Growth means change, and change means friction. You're breaking old patterns, shedding old skin. And that doesn't feel clean. It feels like you're lost. But you're not lost. You're leveling up, blindfolded. The Stoics never promised comfort. They promised clarity after struggle. Marcus Aurelius wrote about how hardship strengthens the soul, how pressure reveals who we really are. But in the moment, he didn't feel wise. He felt overwhelmed, like you do. That's how growth works. Think of it like this. When you're in the gym tearing your muscles, it doesn't feel like strength. It feels like pain. It's only days later, when the soreness fades, that the results begin to show. Same with life. The pain you feel now might be your next breakthrough in disguise. But here's the danger. Most men quit before the growth reveals itself. They mistake discomfort for failure. They hit resistance and assume they're on the wrong path. But resistance is the sign that you're on the right one. No resistance means no challenge. No challenge means no change. So, if it's hard, good. That means you're not stuck. That means you're moving. But you need patience, discipline, vision. You need to say to yourself, this doesn't feel good right now, but I trust that this is doing something in me. I may not see it yet, but I will. Growth demands that you walk through darkness without answers, that you keep going even when it feels like you're falling, that you stay committed, not to comfort, but to becoming. You're not failing, you're stretching, you're building capacity, you're learning lessons your future self will thank you for, but only if you don't quit. So the next time life feels heavy, the next time you feel like nothing is working, like you're stuck, like you're falling behind, pause, breathe, look around and remind yourself, this is growth. This is the part where it doesn't make sense yet. This is the part where most people walk away. You won't, because you understand now. Growth feels like failure until hindsight sets in. And when it does, you'll realize you were never breaking down. You were being rebuilt. Number 11. You will outgrow most of your friends. It's a hard truth, but one you need to accept. you will outgrow most of your friends. Not because you're better than them, not because they're bad people, but because growth creates distance, and not everyone is willing to go where you're going. You won't always walk beside the people you started with. Some of them will stay where they are, comfortable, stagnant, repeating the same cycles. And when you start changing, when you start demanding more of yourself, when you start seeking purpose over pleasure, you'll notice something. The conversations feel different. The connection weakens. The energy doesn't match anymore. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. Growth is lonely. It strips you of what's familiar. It forces you to question the people around you. Are they helping you become stronger, or are they pulling you back into the man you used to be? The Stoics were ruthless about this. They warned that your company shapes your character, that if you spend your time with people who value comfort over discipline, you'll start to do the same. If you surround yourself with men who mock self-improvement, who laugh at your ambition, who waste their lives in distraction, you will become like them. It doesn't matter how strong your will is. Environment beats willpower over time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It's time you realize that you have something in you more powerful than the things that affect you." But that doesn't mean you walk alone forever. It means you walk with those who fuel that power, not weaken it. Outgrowing friends doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop lowering yourself to stay connected. It means you love them from a distance while continuing forward. It means you don't water yourself down to make others comfortable. Here's how you know you've outgrown someone. You feel drained after being around them. Your goals feel silly when you share them. They laugh at your discipline. They want the old version of you, the one who didn't challenge them. And here's the part no one talks about. They'll notice it too. They'll feel the distance. Some will resent it. Some will try to guilt you. You've changed. You're different now. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. That's the whole point. You're not meant to stay the same. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to outgrow the people who refuse to rise with you. So don't hold yourself back out of loyalty to who you used to be. Don't shrink just to stay liked. Don't fear being alone. It's better to walk alone toward your future than to stay surrounded by people chained to the past. Yes, it will hurt. Yes, you'll miss some of them. But missing them doesn't mean you belong with them. It means they were part of your path, not your destination. You will outgrow most of your friends. And that's not failure. That's a sign you're on the right path. Let them stay where they are. You keep climbing. Number 12. Being disliked is a side effect of living with principle. Let's get this straight. If you live with real values, if you speak truth, if you stand for something solid in a world built on approval and comfort, you will be disliked. And that's not a flaw. That's a sign you're doing something right. Most men are terrified of being misunderstood. They shapeshift. They say what's safe. They follow the crowd. Why? Because they think being liked equals being respected. It doesn't. Being liked is easy. Just say what people want to hear. Do what they expect. Stay soft. Stay silent. Stay small. But the man who lives by principle, the man who says no when everyone else says yes, the man who holds the line when it would be easier to fold, that man gets resistance. He gets judged. He gets called stubborn, arrogant, harsh, cold. That's the price. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you'll never be free. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius ruled with discipline and inner strength, not with charm. Epictetus didn't care what the crowd thought. He cared about character. Principle over popularity. Every time. You say you want to be respected. Then stop chasing approval. Respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being clear. Clear on your values. Clear on your standards. Clear on what you will and will not tolerate from others and from yourself. But here's the hard truth. When you become clear, people will react. When you set boundaries, some will feel offended. When you refuse to play along, some will distance themselves. Good. Let them. Because if your values offend someone, that's their problem, not yours. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will support your decisions. Some people will hate your discipline. Others will resent your focus. Let them. You weren't built to please them. You were built to become who you were meant to be. You can't live a strong life while constantly asking, will they approve? You can't lead, grow, or rise if your first thought is, what will they think? Let them think. Let them talk. Let them walk away if they need to. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be grounded, to be solid, to be a man whose word means something, whose presence commands respect, not because he demands it, but because he lives in alignment with what he believes, even when it costs him. So the next time you feel the sting of someone pulling back, disapproving, mocking, rejecting, don't flinch, don't shrink, don't apologize for having a spine, because in the end, the world doesn't need more agreeable men. It needs more principled ones. Being disliked isn't a sign of failure. It's a side effect of living with principle. And if you feel that, good. Keep going. Number 13. Your family might be the first thing you must detach from. This one cuts deep, but it needs to be said. Sometimes the very people who raised you, who share your blood, who say they love you, are the ones holding you back the most. And if you want to grow, if you want to become the man you're meant to be, you might have to do the hardest thing of all, detach from them. This doesn't mean you stop loving them. It doesn't mean you hate them. It means you stop allowing their expectations, their fears, their wounds, and their limitations to shape your life. You see, family can be a blessing, but they can also be a cage. Maybe they don't believe in your goals. Maybe they talk down to you. Maybe they guilt you every time you try to break out of the mold. Or maybe they raised you in dysfunction and now expect you to pretend everything is fine. But here's the truth. Just because they gave you life doesn't mean they own it. And the Stoics were clear. Your duty is to truth and virtue, not to comfort and tradition. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Sometimes that means strangers. Sometimes that means your own blood. You might be the first in your family to try and break the cycle, to rise above poverty, addiction, emotional chaos, or small thinking. And when you do, don't expect applause. Expect resistance. Expect jealousy. Expect emotional manipulation. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you selfish. They'll try to pull you back home. But home isn't always a safe place. Sometimes it's where the damage started. Detaching doesn't mean cutting them off in anger. It means accepting that their version of love might be limited, that their way of thinking doesn't fit your future, that their approval isn't required for your evolution. It means letting go of the fantasy that they'll suddenly understand you, that they'll cheer you on, that they'll become who you always hoped they'd be. They might not. And that's okay. You're not here to live the life they wanted for you. You're here to live the life you were built for. That takes strength. That takes clarity. That takes the courage to say, I love you, but I must go my own way. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but he didn't let anyone, even family, steer him away from his principles. He stayed rooted in truth, not emotion. That's Stoicism, not coldness, clarity. So if your family mocks your growth, dismisses your pain, or expects you to stay small just to keep them comfortable, detach. Detach with peace. Detach with love. Detach because your purpose is greater than your past. Your family might be the first thing you must detach from, and if that's what it takes for you to become the man you were meant to be, so be it. Number 14. You can't save people who are addicted to their own chaos. You care. You want to help. You see someone you love spiraling, making the same mistakes, choosing pain over peace, destruction over discipline. You try to talk to them. You try to guide them. You try to show them a better way. But nothing changes. And here's the truth you don't want to admit. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Some people are addicted to chaos, not by accident, but by choice. Chaos gives them a sense of control, a sense of identity, a reason to avoid responsibility. They say they want peace, but when peace shows up, they sabotage it, because deep down, they're more comfortable with drama, with disorder, with being the victim. It's all they've ever known. And you think you can fix them. You think your presence, your love, your effort will be enough to pull them out. But every time you try, they pull you in, into their storms, into their excuses, into their mess. That's not strength. That's self-destruction disguised as compassion. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't try to control others. They didn't waste energy trying to rescue those who refused to help themselves. They focused on self-mastery, on being the example, not the savior. Because here's the thing, your energy is limited. Every hour you spend chasing someone lost in their own chaos is an hour not spent building yourself. You can't carry someone who's not even trying to stand. You can't walk for someone who keeps choosing to crawl. It's not cruel to step back. It's not selfish to protect your peace. In fact, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is let them fall. Let them feel the consequences. Let them hit bottom. Because rock bottom is where some people finally wake up. But they have to want it. You can't force someone to change. You can offer truth. You can model strength. But after that, it's up to them. If they keep choosing chaos, that's their battle, not yours. And yes, it will hurt. Especially if it's someone close to you. A friend, a partner, a brother. But remember this. Saving someone who doesn't want to be saved is not noble. It's a trap. It will drain you, break you, and leave you resenting the very person you tried to help. Your job is not to rescue everyone. Your job is to stay grounded, to be the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. Stand tall in the storm, but don't jump into every sinking ship. So ask yourself, are you helping them grow, or are you enabling their chaos? You can't change someone who's addicted to their own destruction. Let them go, let them choose, and keep walking your own path. Number 15. Real love has more to do with duty than passion. You've been lied to about love. You've been told it's supposed to feel magical, fiery, all-consuming, that it should be exciting, spontaneous, dramatic, that when it's real, you'll just know. But here's the hard truth most men never hear. Real love isn't built on passion, it's built on duty. Yes, passion has its place. In the beginning, it pulls you in. It feels powerful. It feels alive. But passion fades. It always does. It's temporary by nature. You can't build a life on fire. Fire burns hot. but it also burns out. What's left when the passion quiets? Duty, commitment, discipline. Real love is not how you feel in the moment. It's what you do over time. It's showing up when you're tired. It's listening when you'd rather escape. It's choosing patience over pride, presence over distraction, sacrifice over self-interest. Most men chase the high. They confuse desire with devotion, and when the spark dies, they leave, or they cheat, or they shut down and blame the other person. Why? Because they never understood what love actually demands. The Stoics knew better. They didn't speak of love like poets. They spoke of it like warriors. Marcus Aurelius loved his wife deeply, but he never wrote about butterflies or romance. He wrote about responsibility, about choosing virtue in the face of difficulty. That's love. Love is action. It's staying loyal when no one's watching. It's showing restraint when you could easily walk away. It's telling the hard truth when a lie would be easier. It's doing the right thing, not the easy thing. Passion is selfish. It's about what you feel. Duty is selfless. It's about what you give. So if you're waiting for love to always feel exciting, you're not ready for it. If you think love is supposed to complete you, you'll always be disappointed. And if you only love when it's easy, you don't love at all. You consume. Real love is not something you fall into. It's something you build, brick by brick, through time, through pain, through choices made on days when you feel nothing. Ask yourself, are you in love with the person or with how they make you feel? Would you stay if there was no thrill left? Would you serve even when you're not being served? Because love, real love, is more than emotion. It's a vow, and like all vows, it is honored in silence, in stillness, in service. Real love has more to do with duty than passion, and only those who understand that will ever truly experience it. Number 16. Most apologies are veiled manipulation. You hear the words, "I'm sorry," and something in you wants to believe them. You want to believe they've changed, that they see the damage they caused, that things will be different now. But here's a truth most men ignore. Most apologies aren't about change, they're about control. They're not always meant to heal, they're meant to reset, to smooth things over, to buy another chance, to avoid consequences. Some people apologize not because they feel guilt, but because they feel exposed. The apology is not always an act of humility. Sometimes it's a weapon, a way to keep you emotionally tied, to lower your defenses, to get back into your life without having to do the real work. And if you're not paying attention, you'll fall for it. Again and again. The Stoics warned against this kind of emotional blindness. Epictetus taught that we must judge people not by their words, but by their actions. What they do, not what they say they'll do. Talk is easy. Change is hard. Real apology isn't in the mouth. It's in the discipline that follows. So here's how you spot the truth. If the apology is followed by excuses, it's manipulation. If it's followed by guilt-tripping you, it's manipulation. If it comes with tears but no changed behavior, it's performance. And the worst part? We often want to be manipulated because the apology feels good. It soothes the sting. It tells your wounded pride you were right. But validation is not the same as resolution. Don't confuse temporary peace with long-term healing. You have to get honest. Are you accepting the apology because you believe in their growth, or because you're afraid to walk away? Because the man who keeps falling for empty apologies is not being kind. He's being weak. And weakness is exactly what manipulators prey on. You want to know if someone's sorry? Watch what they sacrifice to make things right. Watch what they change without being asked. Watch what they never repeat. That's what real apology looks like. Action, correction, consistency, time. And if it's not that, it's theater. So don't be fooled by words, especially when they come too easily. Don't let soft language blind you to hard truths. You're not here to be coddled, you're here to be clear. And the clear-eyed man knows this. Most apologies are not confession, they're negotiation. Not accountability, they're damage control. You want real respect? Then stop settling for fake repentance. Let people show you who they are. Not once, over time, without warning, without second chances handed out like candy. Forgive if you must, but never forget the pattern. Most apologies aren't healing you. They're resetting the game. Don't play. Number 17. Silence is more powerful than explanation. You feel the urge, don't you? The need to explain yourself, to defend your choices, to prove your point, to make them understand what you meant, what you intended, what you didn't do. You want to be heard. You want to be justified. But here's the truth. Most explanations are a waste of your energy. They don't bring clarity. They bring weakness. Because the more you explain, the more power you give away. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means strength. You don't owe the world your reasons. You don't have to explain your ambition to small minds. You don't have to justify your discipline to lazy people. You don't have to explain your healing to the ones who broke you. And you definitely don't have to clarify your peace to those who feed off drama. Let them misunderstand you. Let them misjudge you. Let them talk. Let them spin stories in their heads while you continue building in silence. The Stoics mastered this. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Marcus Aurelius never chased arguments, he chased understanding. Their strength wasn't in what they said, it was in what they didn't say. Because silence cannot be twisted, it cannot be interrupted, it cannot be used against you. It is calm, it is control, it is presence. And sometimes it's the loudest response of all. Think of how much energy you've wasted trying to make people see your side, trying to prove your worth, trying to respond to critics, doubters, and fools. What did it give you? Peace? No. Closure? No. Respect? Definitely not. Because words don't change closed minds. And defending yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you is like trying to hold water with your bare hands. You want to be powerful? Then stop explaining and start doing. Let your results speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your character speak. Not with words, but with time. People hear what they want to hear, but they can't argue with consistency. They can't deny transformation. They can't compete with someone who refuses to react. Silence isn't weakness, it's restraint, it's maturity. It's a message that says, I don't need your approval to keep moving. So the next time someone demands an explanation, pause. Ask yourself, do they actually want to understand, or do they just want control? If it's the latter, say nothing. Let them guess. Because a man in control of his words is in control of his world. Silence is more powerful than explanation. And once you learn to use it, you'll never waste your breath again. Number 18. Kindness doesn't mean weakness, but it will be mistaken for it. You hold the door. You speak with respect. You show patience when others lose their temper. You offer help even when it's not required. And deep down, maybe you wonder, do they see this as strength? Or do they think I'm soft? Here's the truth. Kindness will often be mistaken for weakness. And you need to be okay with that. We live in a world that celebrates dominance, loudness, aggression. The louder the voice, the more attention it gets. The harder the edge, the more people assume there's strength behind it. But real strength doesn't need to raise its voice. It doesn't need to crush others to prove itself. Real strength can be quiet. It can be calm. It can be kind. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius had the power to destroy anyone who disrespected him, yet he chose to lead with patience. He reminded himself daily, be firm in principle, but soft in tone. Why? Because he knew that kindness wasn't weakness, it was control. To show kindness in a harsh world is not easy. It requires restraint, it requires discipline, it requires power over your emotions. It's much easier to lash out, to insult, to dominate, but to respond with calm, to meet aggression with composure, that takes real power. But make no mistake, people will test you. Some will see your kindness and assume you have no spine, that you're passive, that you'll tolerate anything, and if you're not careful, they'll use it to walk all over you. That's where the line must be drawn. Kindness does not mean being a doormat. It does not mean saying yes to everything. It does not mean shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. It means treating people with dignity, even when they don't deserve it. But it also means knowing when to say enough. You must learn how to carry both swords, one in your hand, the other in your heart. Kindness in your words, steel in your boundaries. You can offer forgiveness, but never allow disrespect. You can show patience, but never tolerate abuse. You can stay calm, but still walk away from anyone who confuses your peace with passivity. Stoicism teaches us that we don't control how others see us, only how we choose to live. Let them misunderstand you. Let them whisper. Let them call you soft, because eventually the truth reveals itself. The kind man who stays rooted in principle. He's unshakable. He doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't need to shout. He lets his actions speak. And when the time comes to be firm, to say no, to walk away, to draw the line, he does it with the same calm that others mistook for weakness. That's power. That's clarity. That's Stoicism in action. So be kind, be fair, be steady. But never let the world confuse your open hand for an empty one. Kindness is not weakness, but expect it to be seen that way. Stand tall anyway. Number 19. The more you detach, the more isolated you'll feel. Detachment sounds strong, doesn't it? Clean, stoic, unshakable, and it is. But there's a part no one talks about, a part you need to know before you commit to this path. The more you detach from the world, the more isolated you'll feel. That's the price. That's the weight. When you start to detach, you stop needing validation. You stop chasing attention. You let go of old habits, old friends, old desires. You start saying no to things that once felt good, but now feel empty. And while that makes you more focused, it also makes you more alone. Because most people aren't on this path. Most people live through attachment, emotional chaos, constant distraction, needing to be liked, needing to belong. And when you step away from that, you'll feel the distance, you'll feel the silence, you'll feel the space that opens up around you. And it will feel like loneliness. But here's what you must understand, that isolation is not punishment, it's purification. You're shedding layers of your former self, you're clearing room, and yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels empty, but that emptiness is sacred. It's space for truth, space for self-ownership, space to build something real. The Stoics knew this. They practiced detachment not to feel superior, but to be free. Free from the opinions of others, free from emotional slavery, free from the highs and lows that control so many lives. But it came at a cost. Solitude, distance, reflection. Marcus Aurelius spent hours alone writing to himself, not because he hated people, but because he refused to lose himself in them. When you detach, you might stop getting invited. You might not be understood. People might say you've changed. And they're right. You have. Because the man who lives by his own standards will always walk a quieter road. You won't fit in the way you used to. That's not failure. It's proof you're evolving. But here's the warning. If you're not prepared for that isolation, you'll go back. You'll start reattaching, reaching for comfort, reaching for noise, reaching for someone to fill the quiet you haven't yet made peace with. Don't. Sit with it. Let it shape you. Let it show you who you really are when no one's watching. That isolation, it's your teacher now. It will break you down and build you back stronger. It will remove the lies you told yourself to feel accepted. It will sharpen your mind and harden your spirit. And in time, you'll learn to stand in that silence not with fear, but with peace. The more you detach, the more isolated you'll feel. But if you endure it, you'll come out the other side unshakable, whole, and truly free. Number 20. People don't want your truth. They want their comfort. You think being honest will earn you respect. You think speaking truth will inspire change. You think if you just show people what's real, what's raw, they'll thank you for it. They won't. Most of the time, they'll resent you for it. Because the truth doesn't feel good. It confronts, it challenges, it breaks illusions. And most people are addicted to illusions. They'd rather stay in the warmth of their comfort than face the cold air of reality. So when you speak truth, you become the problem, not the lie they're living in. You say, "That's not right." They say, "You're judgmental." You say, "You need to change." They say, "You're being harsh." You say, "This is on you." They say, "You don't understand me." But you do. You understand perfectly. That's why it stings. The Stoics never sugar-coated reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change." But how many people do you know who live like that? Who actually want to be corrected? Not many, because that kind of humility requires strength, and strength is rare. Most people don't want the truth. They want to feel good. They want approval. They want ease. And if your truth makes them uncomfortable, they will distance themselves from you, not the lie. That's the cost of clarity. You will lose people. You will be called cold, arrogant, even toxic, for simply refusing to play along, for refusing to nod while others drown in their own self-deception. Let them go. Your job is not to make others feel safe in their illusions. Your job is to be clear, steady, and honest, first with yourself, then with the world. But here's the catch. Speak your truth, but speak it with discipline, not with ego, not with pride, not to shame or destroy, but to awaken. And if they can't handle it, so be it. You don't exist to make others comfortable. Comfort doesn't build strength. Comfort doesn't create growth. Truth does. So if you feel isolated because of your honesty, good. That means you've stopped playing the game. That means you've chosen the hard road, the honest road, the real road. And the more you walk it, the more you'll find people who value it, who welcome it, who are tired of being lied to, even by themselves. Those are your people. Few, but solid. So remember this. When you speak truth, expect discomfort. Expect silence. Expect distance. But never trade truth for acceptance. Never trade honesty for popularity. Never swallow your voice to keep someone else asleep. People don't want your truth. They want their comfort. Speak it anyway, and let the rest fall away. Number 21. The need to be seen is a spiritual sickness. There's a voice inside you that wants to be noticed, that wants recognition, attention, praise. You post something and check if they liked it. You speak not just to speak, but to be heard, validated, admired. You want to be seen, you crave it. And at first, it feels harmless. Natural even. Everyone wants to feel important. Everyone wants to matter. But here's the truth most men never face. When you constantly need to be seen, you've already lost yourself. It's a sickness, not of the body, but of the soul. Because the deeper the need to be seen, the more you drift away from who you actually are. You start performing, you start crafting a version of yourself for the world to approve of, and with every like, every compliment, every applause, you feel good for a second, but it never lasts. And so you go looking for more. That's the sickness, the endless chase for something external to make you feel whole inside. But it never works. The more you chase recognition, the emptier you become. Because real peace doesn't come from being seen. It comes from being solid, quiet, centered. The Stoics didn't chase attention. They didn't need the crowd. Marcus Aurelius could have written books for the world. Instead, he wrote to himself, in private, in silence. Because true strength doesn't perform, it doesn't seek the spotlight. It stands on its own, even if no one ever claps. Ask yourself, if no one ever saw what you did, would you still do it? Would you still train? Would you still write? Would you still lead? Would you still live by your values, even if no one praised you for it? If the answer is no, then you're not doing it for the right reason. You're not doing it from your soul. You're doing it for applause. And applause is a trap. The moment you need it, you're no longer free. You've become a slave to perception. There's a reason monks retreat from society, a reason warriors train in silence, a reason the Stoics valued stillness. Because only in solitude can you face the real battle, the one inside. You don't need to be seen. You need to be stable. You need to be honest. You need to be free from the addiction of attention. That's what kills the sickness. Not more eyes on you, but fewer. Not louder expression, but deeper purpose. Not validation from others, but quiet respect for yourself. Let others chase the spotlight. Let them scream for followers. You, stay in the shadows and build. The need to be seen is a spiritual sickness. And the cure is silence, stillness, and self-mastery. Number 22. Masculinity isn't power. It's self-regulation. You've been lied to. You've been told that masculinity is about dominance, that it's about control, aggression, toughness, loud voices, and never showing weakness. But real masculinity, it's not about how much power you have, it's about how well you control it. Masculinity is not rage, it's not recklessness, it's not chaos. It's composure, it's restraint. It's being able to crush, but choosing to stay still. It's having fire in your chest, but not letting it burn the people around you. The world tells men to act big, to look strong, to push others down to prove themselves. But that's not strength. That's fear wearing a mask. Because if you have to prove you're in control by losing it, you were never in control to begin with. The Stoics had this figured out long before the world confused masculinity with ego. Marcus Aurelius led armies, ruled an empire, had absolute power, yet he wrote daily about staying humble, patient, calm. Why? Because he knew a man's true strength isn't in what he can do, it's in what he chooses not to do. Self-regulation is mastery. When someone insults you and you don't bite back, that's masculinity. When you feel anger rising but you pause, breathe and respond with clarity, that's masculinity. When you want to quit but you stay the course, steady, unshaken, that's masculinity. You don't need to control others, you need to control yourself, your habits, your thoughts, your emotions, your desires. That's the foundation. That's where real respect begins, not in how loud you are, but in how solid you are when things get loud around you. But this is hard, because it means you don't get to react like a child. You don't get to explode every time something doesn't go your way. You don't get to let your emotions rule your decisions. It means you hold the line every time, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. That's what makes it masculine, not the show, not the flex, the discipline. Most men today have high emotion and low discipline. They live on impulse, pleasure, reaction, and they wonder why their lives are chaotic. If you want to rise above, you have to flip the script. Don't suppress your strength, master it. Don't silence your emotions, understand them. Don't seek to dominate others, lead yourself. So the next time you feel the heat rise, the frustration, the pride, the urge to prove yourself, remember, this is the test, not of how tough you are, but of how controlled you are. Masculinity isn't found in power, it's found in how you regulate it. And the man who can master himself, he becomes unshakable, unstoppable, unmistakably masculine. Number 23. Being alpha is irrelevant to your soul. You've been sold an image, broad shoulders, loud voice, dominance, control, the leader of the pack, the alpha. Social media screams it at you. Walk like this, talk like that, never show weakness, always win. Be the strongest, the hardest, the one everyone fears. But here's the truth. Being alpha might impress the world, but it means nothing to your soul. It's a costume, an act, a performance meant to win approval from people who are just as lost as you. Because real strength, real depth, real manhood, it doesn't come from posturing, it comes from mastery of yourself, of your mind, of your reactions. You can dominate a room and still be fragile inside. You can get respect from others while secretly despising yourself. You can be loud, aggressive, successful, and still be weak because you've built everything on ego. The Stoics never cared about dominance. They cared about virtue, self-control, integrity. Marcus Aurelius had absolute power, yet reminded himself daily to be humble, to be kind, to serve something greater than himself. That's not alpha, that's wisdom. You want to be powerful? Then stop chasing hierarchy. Stop comparing yourself to other men. Stop trying to be on top of a pile that doesn't even matter. Because here's what actually matters. Do you do what's right when no one's watching? Do you stay calm when you're angry? Do you serve something greater than your ego? Do you choose discipline over chaos, patience over pride? That's strength, that's character, that's soul. The obsession with being alpha is insecurity in disguise. Real power doesn't need labels. It doesn't need to dominate. It doesn't need to be seen. It is quiet, grounded, unshakable. So ask yourself, are you building yourself into a man of substance, or just a louder version of emptiness? You can keep chasing the image, or you can build the reality. But you can't do both. Being alpha is irrelevant. Your soul doesn't care how many followers you have. Your soul doesn't care if you're the loudest in the room. Your soul wants peace, purpose, discipline, truth. Being alpha is irrelevant to your soul. Be real instead. Be solid. Be silent. And let your life, not your title, do the talking. Number 24. Pride often hides despair. He walks tall, chin up, voice steady, always good, always fine, never complains, never breaks. On the outside, he looks solid, untouchable. But on the inside, he's exhausted, numb, drowning. Because here's the truth no one talks about. Pride often hides despair.
The louder the pride, the deeper the pain.
The more a man says, "I'm good," the more you should wonder what he's carrying. Because real despair doesn't always look like tears. It looks like silence, like distance, like overcompensating with strength to cover a heart that's quietly falling apart. We've been taught that pride is a virtue, that you should never let them see you struggle. That being a man means carrying it all without asking for help. But when pride turns into armor, it stops being strength and starts being a cage. Stoicism teaches strength, yes, but not the fake kind, not the kind that hides. Marcus Aurelius wrote about suffering, about grief, about feeling overwhelmed. He didn't pretend those things didn't exist. He just refused to let them control him. That's the difference. Modern pride says, "I'm fine. Leave me alone." Stoic strength says, "This is hard, but I'm facing it." One is hiding, the other is healing. Pride says asking for help is weak. Despair whispers, "No one would care anyway." Together, they build a wall so high that no light gets in. And the tragic part? No one notices. Because you look strong, you sound strong, you act like nothing's wrong. Until one day, you crash, and everyone says, "I had no idea." Don't let that be your story. You don't have to share everything. You don't have to bleed in front of everyone. But you do have to be honest. With yourself, at the very least. Stop pretending you're not struggling when you are. Stop masking pain with pride. Stop carrying weight alone just because the world told you to. Being honest about your pain doesn't make you fragile. It makes you real. And being real is the first step toward becoming truly strong. So if you find yourself talking louder, pushing harder, isolating more, check yourself. Ask why. Ask what you're hiding. Ask what you're afraid they'll see. Because the man who faces his despair without pride, he heals, he grows, he rises. But the man who hides it with a fake smile and silent suffering, he breaks, slowly, quietly, sometimes beyond repair. Don't confuse pride with power. Don't confuse silence with strength. And don't let your ego bury your truth. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you're not okay. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's Stoicism. Number 25. Success without stillness is just another addiction. They told you to chase success, to grind, to hustle, to keep moving, keep building, keep proving. And maybe you listened. Maybe you started to climb. You got the money, the respect, the body, the job, the title. On the outside, it looks like you've made it. But here's the question. Can you sit in silence with yourself? Can you slow down? Can you breathe? Can you stop? Because if the answer is no, if stillness makes you restless, if quiet makes you anxious, if you always need something to chase, then what you have isn't peace. It's just another addiction dressed up as achievement. Most men don't chase success for the joy of creating. They chase it to run from something, from insecurity, from pain, from the fear of being ordinary. And when they reach one goal, they don't feel satisfied. They just panic and sprint toward the next one. That's not strength. That's compulsion. The Stoics warned us, if you can't master your inner world, the outer one will never satisfy you. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, and yet he reminded himself daily to seek stillness, not praise. He knew that real power wasn't in having more, it was in needing less. You think success will fix you, but success without stillness just amplifies your chaos. You'll work 14-hour days because you're afraid to slow down. You'll fill every moment with noise, distraction, tasks, because you're scared of what silence will reveal. You'll say, just one more goal for the rest of your life, until your life runs out. Ask yourself, what's all this for? If your victories don't bring peace, are they really victories? If your success leaves you restless, anxious, burnt out, what are you actually winning? Stillness isn't weakness. It's power under control. It's the ability to be alone with your thoughts and not flinch. It's the discipline to slow down when the world says, speed up. It's the courage to rest when your ego says, keep going. You need both. The fire to move and the wisdom to pause. Build, chase, grow. But also learn to stop. Learn to sit. Learn to be. Because if you can't be at peace without the next achievement, you'll never be at peace at all. Success without stillness is just another addiction, and real freedom begins the moment you no longer need to outrun yourself. Number 26. Men who chase status are often escaping insignificance. The car, the title, the watch, the followers, the applause. On the surface, it all looks like success, like power, like respect. But look closer, and you'll often find a man running, not toward greatness, but away from a feeling he can't admit, insignificance. Status is loud, but the fear behind it is quiet. It whispers, "You're not enough." So he works harder, flexes bigger, collects symbols, not strength. And the more he collects, the more he needs, because the high never lasts. It fades quickly. Why? Because status doesn't fix the core problem. It masks it. A man who knows his worth doesn't chase validation. He doesn't need to prove it through flashy things or social praise. He stands calm in a noisy world. But the man who doesn't know his worth, he's addicted to noise, addicted to being seen, because being ignored terrifies him. The Stoics knew this. Epictetus warned about being a slave to appearances. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the emptiness of fame, the shallowness of legacy built on vanity. Why? Because they understood this. If your value depends on being seen, you're already lost. Status is external. Significance is internal. One can be taken from you in a second. The other is built slowly, silently, in how you live, not what you show. You don't need to be known by millions. You need to be respected by the man in the mirror. But the world sells a different story. It tells men, more status equals more worth. So they chase it, obsess over it, lose sleep over it, and still feel empty when they get it. Why? Because no amount of clout will ever fill the hole left by a life with no meaning. Ask yourself, if no one could see what you own, if no one could see your success, would you still want it? That's the test, because chasing status is easy. Everyone does it. Building real worth, quietly, patiently, through discipline, truth, service, self-respect. That's rare. That's stoic. That's real masculinity. So if you find yourself obsessed with being seen, stop and ask, what am I running from? What am I trying to prove? To who? Let go of the need to impress. Replace it with the need to build. Not image, character. Not fame, substance. Not status, significance. Because in the end, no one remembers how many followers you had. They remember how you lived, and so do you. Number 27. You don't need to win. Just endure longer. Everyone wants to win, to dominate, to be number one, to come out on top. That's what the world celebrates. Victory, speed, status. The man who finishes first. But here's a truth you've probably never heard. You don't need to win. You just need to endure longer. Because life is not a race. It's a test of stamina. Most men burn out. They sprint hard, crash early, and quit the moment things stop being easy. They chase fast results, and when they don't get them, they fold. But not you. Not if you want to last. Not if you want to become something unshakable. Endurance beats talent. Endurance beats luck. Endurance beats brilliance, charm, connections, all of it. Why? Because most people don't last. Most people don't have the patience to show up every day when the reward isn't immediate. But the man who keeps going, quietly, consistently, without applause, becomes untouchable. That's what the Stoics taught. Endurance, fortitude, resilience. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about winning. He wrote about carrying the weight, about standing firm when life gets brutal, about persisting through loss, pain, failure, betrayal, not for glory, for duty. You will fall behind at times. You will lose. You will be overlooked, underestimated, misunderstood. Let it happen. Don't let it break you. Just keep going. That's the secret. You don't need to have the most talent. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to be the fastest or the strongest or the most praised. You just need to refuse to quit. The gym? Keep going when motivation dies. The work? Keep showing up when it feels thankless. The purpose? Keep walking when the path is dark and no one claps for you. That's how empires are built. Brick by brick, day by day, without drama. That's how legends are made. Not by the man who shines once, but by the man who never disappears. Endurance is not glamorous. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's slow. But it's what sharpens you into someone who can't be broken. Stop asking yourself, how do I win? Start asking, how can I outlast? Let others chase the quick glory. Let them burn out trying to prove something. You stay the course. Grind in silence. Outlast the noise. You don't need to win. You just need to endure longer. And if you do, you'll win anyway. Number 28. Your name will be forgotten, so act accordingly. One day, you'll die, and not long after, you'll be forgotten, not just by strangers, but by history, by time, even by the people closest to you. Your name, your face, your achievements, they'll fade. Maybe it takes a generation, maybe two. But eventually, you'll become a photo in a dusty box, a name no one remembers how to pronounce. Brutal? Yes. But freeing? Absolutely. Because once you accept that you are not the center of the universe, you start living differently. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop obsessing over recognition, over legacy, over being remembered. And you start focusing on what you can control, how you live right now. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, ruler of millions, still wrote to himself, "All fame is fleeting." He reminded himself that even the greatest men would be forgotten. And if he would be forgotten, what does that say about you and me? Your name might not last, but your actions, they matter today. To the people around you, to the work you touch, to the choices you make. You want to live with strength? Then stop chasing immortality in a world that forgets everything. Instead, build something timeless within yourself. Integrity, discipline, wisdom. These don't need a name attached to them. They just need to be lived. You won't be remembered for what you posted. You won't be remembered for what car you drove, what job title you held, how many people liked your content. You'll be remembered, for a moment, by how you made others feel, what you gave, what you stood for when it was hard, and then you'll fade too. So let go of the need to be legendary. Let go of the fear of being forgotten. Because that fear, that pressure, it's a lie. The goal is not to be remembered. The goal is to live with such clarity, such purpose, that you don't need to be. Serve without applause. Build without a crowd. Act without needing credit. Because freedom begins the moment you stop trying to be someone in history and start becoming someone in the present. Your name will disappear. So act like a man who knows that, and lives anyway, with fire, with discipline, with purpose. That's enough. That's everything. Number 29. Discipline is not enough. You need direction. You wake up early. You train. You grind. You push through resistance. You say no to temptation. You've built discipline. And that's powerful. But here's the part no one tells you. Discipline alone is not enough. You need direction. A disciplined man without a purpose is like a sharpened sword with no target. Impressive, but wasted. You can be consistent, committed, structured, and still be going nowhere. Still be spinning in circles. Still be disciplined in the wrong things. Waking up early means nothing if you wake up to do things that don't move you forward. Hard work is useless if it's aimed at the wrong goal. Discipline without vision becomes routine, and routine without purpose becomes a trap. Some of the most disciplined men are also the most lost. They have the habits, they have the structure, but they have no why. They're checking boxes, but not building anything real. They're staying busy, but avoiding the deeper questions. What am I actually working toward? Why does this matter? Is this building the man I'm supposed to become, or just keeping me distracted? The Stoics taught that discipline is a tool, not the end goal. Epictetus said it clearly. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. First, decide the direction, then apply the discipline. Without that first step, you're just running on a treadmill, sweating, straining, staying in place. Ask yourself, are you living with intention or just grinding because you're afraid to stop? Because when you don't know where you're going, discipline can become your prison. You'll become a machine, numb, robotic, confusing movement for meaning. And over time, that kind of life burns you out. Not because it's hard, but because it's empty. You need both. Discipline is the engine. Direction is the map. Without the map, the engine drives you into walls. So stop and look around. Audit your path. Be honest. Are you training for purpose or ego? Working for impact or approval? Living with clarity or just habit? You don't need to do more. You need to aim better. Precision over effort. Direction over speed. Discipline is not enough. You need direction. And once you have both, there's nothing you can't build. Number 30. Being feared is not the same as being respected. You walk into a room and people go quiet. You speak and no one dares to challenge you. You get what you want, not because they admire you, but because they're afraid of what happens if they don't comply. And maybe that feels like power, but it's not, because being feared is not the same as being respected. Fear creates distance. Respect creates trust. Fear silences people. Respect invites truth. Fear makes others shrink. Respect makes others stand taller around you. When you lead with fear, you control the surface. People play the part. They obey. But behind closed doors, they resent you. They avoid you. They wait for you to fall, because fear might win obedience, but it never earns loyalty. Real respect is different. It's quiet, earned, rooted in who you are, not what you can do to people. You don't get it by raising your voice or throwing your weight around. You get it by showing consistency, discipline, restraint. You get it by walking your talk when no one's watching. The Stoics taught this through example. Marcus Aurelius had the authority to destroy anyone who crossed him. But he ruled with patience and wisdom, not intimidation. He didn't want fear. He wanted truth. He wanted people around him who would speak freely, not tremble silently. And that's what you should want too, because fear isolates. You end up alone, admired on the outside, hollow on the inside. But respect connects. It builds bridges. It creates a world where people follow you, not because they have to, but because they want to. Ask yourself this: do people listen to you because they believe in you, or because they're afraid of you? Do they follow your example, or just avoid your temper? There's a difference between being firm and being feared, between being clear and being cold, between commanding a room and choking the life out of it. You don't need to be feared to lead. You don't need to dominate to be strong. You don't need to intimidate to earn respect. You just need to be solid, grounded, honest, a man of principle, a man who can act with force, but chooses wisdom first, a man whose strength protects others, not just himself. So let go of the mask. Let go of the act. Anyone can create fear. Few can build respect. And in the end, no one mourns the tyrant, but they remember the man who stood tall, held the line, and lifted others while staying true to who he was. Being feared is cheap. Being respected is earned. Choose wisely. Number 31. You will die before your life ever feels complete. You're waiting, whether you realize it or not. Waiting for that moment when it all clicks, when the chaos settles, when you finally feel like you've made it, that someday everything will be in place. Your body, your mind, your career, your relationships, your peace. You tell yourself, one day I'll get there. But here's the truth: you won't. You will die before your life ever feels complete. There is no finish line, no moment where everything feels done, solved, perfect. Life isn't a puzzle to complete. It's a path to walk. And most men waste their lives waiting to feel like they've arrived before they allow themselves to fully live. You think happiness will come when you hit that number in your bank account, when you're in shape, when she finally loves you back, when the past doesn't hurt anymore, when you've earned rest. But the moment you reach one milestone, another takes its place. That's the nature of desire. The bar always moves. The Stoics warned us, if you wait for everything to be perfect before you live with peace, you'll never live at all. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire and still reminded himself daily that death was close. He didn't chase completeness, he chased readiness. He chased presence. Because he knew this life doesn't guarantee resolution. It guarantees change. And one day, it ends, unfinished. So stop expecting closure from everything. You won't get it. Stop expecting to wake up one day with no more fear, no more doubt, no more questions. You won't. Stop waiting for permission to feel satisfied. Because even on your best day, there will still be something missing, something undone, something imperfect. But that doesn't mean it's broken. That doesn't mean you are broken. It means you're human. It means you're alive. You will die with unread books, unspoken words, unfinished dreams. And that's okay. Because life isn't about completing everything. It's about becoming something. Every single day, piece by piece, with what you have, where you are. So instead of chasing the perfect ending, aim to live a worthy middle. Show up, stay sharp, stay honest, do the work, not to finish the story, but to make it real while it lasts. You will die before your life ever feels complete. But if you live with presence, purpose, and peace, you won't need it to be. Number 32. No legacy can protect you from death. You work hard, you build, you sacrifice. You tell yourself it's for something bigger, for your name, your legacy, your place in history. You think if you leave a mark, if enough people remember you, then somehow you won't really be gone. But here's the brutal truth. No legacy can protect you from death. You will die. So will everyone you know. And one day, everything you built will fade. Your name will be said less. Your work will be changed, erased, forgotten, and time will move on, like you were never here. That sounds bleak, but it's not. It's clarifying. Because when you accept that even your greatest legacy will one day turn to dust, you stop chasing immortality and start chasing integrity. You stop asking, how will I be remembered? And start asking, how am I living right now? The Stoics didn't run from death. They stared it in the face every day. Memento mori. Remember, you must die. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that fame, power, reputation, all of it fades. Even emperors rot. Even the greatest legacies disappear. But what doesn't disappear is how you showed up while you were alive. Did you live with purpose? Did you speak truth when it mattered? Did you lead with strength and grace? Did you hold the line even when no one would know? That's your real legacy. Not statues, not trophies. Your legacy is built moment by moment, in the silence, in the decisions no one sees. Stop trying to impress the future. Start honoring the present. Because when death comes, and it will, it won't care how many followers you had, how successful you were, or how many people cried at your funeral. It will ask only this: did you live fully? Did you live honestly? Did you become the man you were meant to be? And if the answer is yes, then your legacy lives in you, not in what you leave behind. So don't chase death with pride, thinking legacy will shield you. Face death with humility, knowing you've lived well regardless of what remains. No legacy will save you. But your life, lived with discipline, truth, and courage, can make death irrelevant. Because the goal isn't to be remembered forever. The goal is to matter while you're here. And that is enough. Number 33. Suffering is not the enemy. It's the teacher. Most people spend their entire lives running from pain, avoiding it, numbing it, escaping it. They chase comfort, distraction, ease. And when suffering shows up, they panic, they complain, they ask, "Why me?" But here's the truth. Suffering is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to sharpen you. It's here to reveal the parts of you that comfort hides. Because you don't find your strength when everything is going right. You find it when everything is falling apart. Pain is the mirror that shows you who you really are. And most men never look into it. They flinch, they run, they hide behind noise and pleasure and busyness, because sitting with pain requires more courage than most are willing to summon. But the Stoics didn't run. They welcomed discomfort. They leaned into hardship. Marcus Aurelius faced death, betrayal, war, and grief, and still sat each morning in silence, writing reminders to himself. Endure, adjust, grow. He didn't ask for less suffering. He asked for the strength to meet it. Suffering is not just part of life. It is life. It's the pressure that forges character, the fire that burns away illusion, the weight that builds real strength, not just in body, but in soul. Think about the times you grew the most. They weren't easy. They weren't painless. They broke something in you and forced something better to be built in its place. That's the pattern. Pain breaks you open. Growth walks in after. But only if you stay present. Only if you stop asking, "How do I escape this?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Pain teaches patience. Loss teaches value. Failure teaches humility. Heartbreak teaches clarity. Every scar carries a lesson. If you ignore it, you suffer twice. Don't make pain your identity. Don't become a victim. But don't avoid it either. Learn from it. Sit with it. Look it in the eye and say, "I'm listening." Because once you stop fearing suffering, it loses its grip on you. And once you learn from it, it becomes the very thing that makes you unbreakable. Suffering is not the enemy, it's the teacher. And the sooner you stop running from it, the faster you become the man it was trying to build all along. Number 34. Comfort is the modern man's silent executioner. It doesn't stab you. It doesn't scream. It doesn't break down your door or drag you into the dark. No. Comfort kills you quietly, slowly, silently, day by day. It whispers, "You're fine." It says, "You've earned this." It tells you, "Take it easy, you've got time." And before you know it, a year's gone, then 5, then a lifetime. Comfort is the drug modern men overdose on without even realizing it. You wake up late, hit snooze, scroll for an hour. You choose convenience over challenge, numbness over growth. You tell yourself you'll do better tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes your excuse for not starting today. That's comfort. It doesn't look dangerous, but it's lethal. Why? Because it feeds weakness. Because it replaces discipline with distraction. It kills urgency. It kills edge. And it does all of this while keeping you comfortable enough not to complain. The Stoics would have called this a trap. Marcus Aurelius knew it. He fought against it every morning. He didn't feel like getting up early. He didn't want to face endless duties. But he did it. Why? Because he knew that to live well, you must resist comfort. Because comfort doesn't just make you soft, it makes you forget who you are. And here's the worst part. The world will reward your comfort. It will sell it to you, praise it, market it, wrap it in luxury. Work less. Treat yourself. You deserve this. But all it's doing is selling you chains that look like cushions. Comfort becomes a coffin when it replaces challenge. It steals your hunger, your intensity, your masculinity, because a man who avoids discomfort avoids growth, and a man who avoids growth dies standing up. You want to live with strength? Then seek friction. Do hard things. Wake up early. Say no to the easy route. Train when you're tired. Say the truth when it's uncomfortable. Discipline over dopamine. Always. Because every time you choose comfort over effort, you give up a piece of your potential. You get a moment of ease and a future of regret. Comfort doesn't care about the man you could have been. It just wants you still. Passive, quiet, harmless. You weren't built for that. You were built to move, to struggle, to sharpen, to become. So the next time comfort whispers in your ear, just relax a little longer. Answer back. Not today. Not ever. Because you've seen what comfort does. And now, you choose war. You choose growth. You choose the man you're meant to become. Comfort won't kill you quickly, but it will kill everything that matters, unless you kill it first. Number 35. You'll likely never be fully understood. You want someone to get it, to see you, to really know what you've been through, what you carry, how your mind works, why you are the way you are. You want to be heard without having to explain yourself, to be seen without performing, to be known without translation. But here's the truth. You'll likely never be fully understood, not by your parents, not by your friends, not by the woman you love, not even by the people closest to you. Because no one else has lived your life. No one else has felt your thoughts, carried your exact weight, bled your same internal battles, and they never will. And that's not a tragedy. It's a reality. One you have to accept. The deeper you go into your path, the more alone it becomes. Not because people don't care, but because they can't fully follow. There are parts of your soul that will always be yours to carry in silence. And that silence will feel heavy, but it's part of the deal. You don't need to be understood. You need to be centered. You don't need constant affirmation. You need clarity. You don't need others to validate your inner world. You need to own it. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius journaled privately, not for an audience, not for fame, but to speak with himself, to wrestle with his mind, to understand himself. Because that's where peace begins, not in being understood, but in being self-aware. And when you accept that you may never be fully seen by others, you stop chasing their approval. You stop over-explaining. You stop hoping someone will get it enough to fix what you've had to fight through alone. You start walking with a quieter kind of strength. Because some of your greatest breakthroughs will happen in silence. Some of your greatest growth will never be witnessed. Some of your deepest pain will never be fully known. And that's okay. Let them misunderstand you. Let them label you. Let them guess. You're not here to be explained. You're here to become. So speak when it matters. Stay silent when it doesn't. Keep your mission sharp. Keep your soul clean. And let the world say what it wants. You'll likely never be fully understood, but if you understand yourself, deeply, brutally, honestly, that's more than enough. Number 36. Every gain carries a loss you didn't see. You got the promotion, the money, the recognition, the thing you worked for, sacrificed for, obsessed over. It's finally yours. And on the surface, it feels like a win. But take a closer look. Behind every gain, there's a loss you didn't expect. Success doesn't come free. It costs time. It costs energy. It costs relationships, peace, sleep, freedom, things you don't notice until they're already gone. You climbed the ladder, but now you see less of your family. You hit the goal, but lost the joy of the process. You proved them wrong, but somewhere along the way, you disappeared. And that's the thing most men don't prepare for. They focus so hard on what they want to gain, they never stop to ask, what will this take from me? They chase the prize, blind to the price. The Stoics knew this truth. Epictetus warned that when you choose something, you are also choosing to give something up. You don't get to keep everything. That's not how life works. To gain one thing, you must surrender another. But here's the key. That's not a reason to avoid ambition. It's a reason to be clear. Clear on what matters. Clear on what's worth the sacrifice. Clear on what you will and won't trade, no matter how shiny the reward looks. You can have achievement without addiction, growth without selling your soul, victory without losing yourself. But only if you count the cost first. So before you chase the next thing, stop and ask, what will this take from me? Who will I become on the way to this? What parts of me am I willing to give? And which ones must I protect at all costs? Because every gain carries a shadow, a trade, a toll, and the question isn't, can I get it? It's, can I live with what it takes to keep it? You might win and feel empty. You might arrive and not recognize yourself. And then you'll understand. The gain was real, but so was the loss. So move with clarity, build with awareness, climb with your eyes open. Because a wise man doesn't just chase gains, he guards what can't be replaced. Number 37. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your rituals. You have big goals. You've pictured them, you've talked about them, maybe you've even written them down. The dream body, the disciplined mind, the business, the peace, the freedom, and you tell yourself, one day I'll get there. But here's the truth. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your rituals. In other words, you won't magically reach that vision of your life just because you want it badly enough. You'll reach it, or not, based on what you do repeatedly, especially when no one's watching. Your life isn't shaped by motivation, it's shaped by patterns. The way you wake up, the way you eat, the way you speak to yourself when it's quiet, the way you respond to pressure, temptation, distraction. You don't build success through big declarations, you build it through small disciplines, done every single day. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius didn't become a great emperor because he dreamed of being noble. He became one because every morning he prepared his mind. He practiced stillness. He reflected. He showed up. He had rituals that kept him rooted. So do you. Or do you rely on random bursts of willpower? Do you train when you feel like it, or when you said you would? Do you control your environment, or let it control you? Because here's the brutal truth. Under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your systems. The man who trains daily doesn't need motivation. He has momentum. The man who plans his days doesn't waste them. He owns them. The man who masters his rituals doesn't chase excellence. He becomes it. You want to change your life? Stop focusing on the outcome. Start focusing on the process. Your goals are the target, but your rituals are the path. And if the path is weak, you'll collapse before you get close. So what do your rituals look like? Do you get up and face the day with intention, or do you scroll for 30 minutes and react? Do you journal, train, prepare your mind, or do you leave it to chance and call it freedom? There is no freedom without structure. There is no strength without systems. There is no peace without repetition. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your rituals. So build ones that make failure impossible. Then repeat them until they become who you are. Number 38. Meaning is optional. Movement is not. You sit there, waiting to feel inspired, waiting for a sign, waiting for clarity, purpose, alignment, motivation. You say, "What's the point?" So you do nothing. You say, "I don't know what I want yet," so you stall. You tell yourself, "I need to find my purpose first." But here's the truth. Meaning is optional. Movement is not. You don't need a grand vision to take the next step. You don't need to feel ready to start. You don't need to see the full path to begin walking it. What you need is motion, action, discipline, now. The idea that you have to find yourself before you build yourself, that's a trap. That's how men waste years, waiting for life to make sense before they start living. The Stoics didn't wait around for meaning to strike like lightning. They moved, they worked, they lived with principle. Not because it always felt profound, but because it was right. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal about purpose. He wrote about duty. He didn't ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" He asked, "Is this the right thing to do?" Do that long enough, and meaning catches up. The truth is, meaning isn't something you find. It's something you build through repetition, sweat, service, and struggle. You carve it out of action. Movement creates clarity, not the other way around. Stillness, when it's rooted in fear or doubt, rots the mind. You begin to overthink. You invent problems. You spiral in indecision. You convince yourself you're lost, when in reality, you've just stopped moving. And here's what you need to understand. You can walk with confusion. You can train with uncertainty. You can build without knowing exactly where it leads, because progress is always better than perfect direction. Don't wait for meaning to wake you up in the morning. Get up anyway. Move anyway. Show up anyway. The man who waits for meaning to act becomes paralyzed. The man who acts despite doubt becomes powerful. Meaning is the reward of momentum. It's not the requirement. So when your mind says, "Why bother?" say back, "Because I'm still breathing, because there's work to do," and take the next step. Don't chase meaning, create movement, because the man who moves eventually finds both. Number 39. You must live as if you're already dead. That sounds harsh, maybe even extreme. But it's not about being reckless, it's about being awake. Because here's the truth most men refuse to face. You are going to die, and not someday in the far future. No, it could be tomorrow, next week, this year. And once you understand that, not just intellectually, but in your bones, your entire life changes. The Stoics had a phrase for it. Memento mori. Remember that you must die. They didn't say it to be morbid. They said it to stay focused, to stay present, to stop wasting time pretending they were immortal. Because the illusion of time is what makes men lazy. It's what makes you scroll instead of act, hesitate instead of speak, procrastinate instead of build, avoid instead of face. You think you have time. You don't. You must live as if you're already dead, as if this moment is your last, as if there's nothing left to lose, because there isn't. That business you keep putting off, start it. That conversation you've been avoiding, have it. That version of yourself you keep postponing, become him. Now. This mindset doesn't make you careless. It makes you urgent. It sharpens your choices. It kills your excuses. It strips away everything shallow and leaves only what matters. If you were already dead, you wouldn't waste your energy proving anything to anyone. You wouldn't delay your truth. You wouldn't tolerate distractions. You'd strip your life down to what's real, what matters, what's yours. That's what the Stoics understood. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. He wasn't trying to be poetic. He was trying to stay free. Free from fear, free from ego, free from delay. You have no control over how long you live, but you have complete control over how deeply you live while you're here. Most people are already dead. They just haven't been buried yet. They drift, they react, they exist, but they do not live. You must be different. Live as if you're already dead, because then there's no more waiting, no more fear, no more lies. Just action, just presence, just now. And that's where your real life begins. Number 40. The hardest battle isn't against the world, but your own mind. You think the enemy is out there, the boss, the bills, the critics, the chaos. You think if the world would just ease up, if people would respect you, if life would give you a break, you'd finally have peace. But the truth is, the world isn't your biggest fight. It's you. It's your own mind. It's the voice that says, you're not good enough. The voice that says, why try? The one that whispers, you'll fail again before you've even begun. The hardest war you'll ever fight is not with someone else. It's the one behind your eyes. And if you don't learn to face that enemy, to master it, it will run your life silently, mercilessly. Most men lose that battle every single day, and they don't even know it. They lose it when they choose distraction over discipline, when they listen to doubt instead of taking action, when they replay the same fears, regrets, and self-hate on loop like a broken record. And the world? The world keeps spinning. It's not holding them back. Their own thoughts are. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Read that again. Because until you master the battlefield of your own thinking, no success, no relationship, no win will ever feel like enough. You'll sabotage it, doubt it, discard it. But here's the good news. This fight, it's winnable. Not by avoiding the thoughts, not by pretending everything's okay, but by confronting your inner chaos with clarity, with courage, and with practice. You train your mind the same way you train your body, daily, with effort, through resistance. You start by noticing the thought. You pause before reacting. You question the lie instead of swallowing it. You remind yourself, I am not my fear. I am not my past. I am not my worst moment. You hold the line, even when it's exhausting, especially when it's exhausting. Because once you win that inner war, once you learn how to silence doubt, how to endure discomfort, how to keep moving through the mental fog, nothing outside of you can break you.
Not criticism, not failure, not even pain.
So stop blaming the world. The battlefield is within. Win there, and everything changes. Lose there, and nothing ever will. The hardest battle isn't out there. It's right here, inside you. And the man who learns to conquer his mind, he becomes unbreakable. Today, we embark on a transformative journey of self-awareness and inner development in this 1-hour video. Together, we will delve into the profound and expansive world of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided countless souls toward genuine happiness, profound wisdom, and lasting inner peace. As we navigate this journey, we'll explore timeless insights from the meditations of Marcus Aurelius, uncovering foundational principles capable of reshaping our lives. We will discover the key to happiness through the practice of the love of fate, by learning to welcome all that life places on our path. Amor fati. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I kindly invite you to support me by subscribing and liking this video. Your support allows me to continue producing thoughtful content like this. During this session, we'll explore life's dichotomies, a powerful Stoic concept that enables us to make wise choices and remain composed amidst the chaos of everyday life. We'll examine 6 historical habits we must be wary of if we are to preserve our clarity and tranquility. Alongside this, we will explore how to gain mastery over our own lives by embracing Stoic practices, nurturing calmness, and cultivating an invincible inner spirit. With the help of Marcus Aurelius's reflections, we'll discover how to build productive and fulfilling days, and learn how Stoicism can become our trusted guide in overcoming procrastination. So, without further delay, let us begin this Stoic exploration in pursuit of a richer, more meaningful existence. In the swift current of today's world, finding a firm sense of purpose can be daunting. But worry not, for Stoicism offers a solution. It blends timeless wisdom with practical advice, showing us how to create a daily rhythm that fosters harmony, personal growth, and deep serenity. This philosophy, tested by time, remains relevant and powerful, helping us grow stronger, calmer, and more fulfilled. Join me in this voyage of self-discovery as we explore how to shape morning and evening routines that lead to greatness. Rise each morning with intention and enthusiasm. Reflect upon the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, as guiding principles for making deliberate and courageous choices, always striving for harmony across every facet of life. Gratitude will become your invaluable companion. Learn to appreciate the countless blessings, experiences, and individuals that enrich your life. You'll see how this sense of gratitude can infuse your soul with joy and wash away even the slightest sense of lack or longing. By beginning your day with this empowered mindset, you will face challenges with poise and anticipation. Engage in the practice of negative visualization. Consider the hardships that may lie ahead and meet them with wisdom and calm readiness. This preparation arms you with emotional resilience, helping you to adapt and grow through life's uncertainties. Let journaling breathe life into Stoic wisdom. Keep a dedicated space where you write down your intentions, emotions, and observations. This daily practice will become a lighthouse of insight and direction, a constant reminder of your inner path, even through your most difficult hours. Step into the world with stoic dignity. Cultivate sharp focus and genuine productivity in a reality brimming with distractions. Uphold justice and compassion in all your interactions. Open your heart to a deeper comprehension of human nature. When faced with stress, remember to adopt a posture of strength and an attitude rooted in perspective. Direct your energy toward what lies within your control and release everything that doesn't. Let wisdom be your steady guide. As evening falls and it's time to rest, take time to reflect. Think deeply about the events of the day, drawing lessons from your experiences and using each step as an opportunity to evolve. Accept your imperfections while maintaining a commitment to continuous growth. Set your intentions for the following day, laying the foundation for a future carved by wisdom, bravery, fairness, and balance. Be the creator of your destiny by letting Stoicism be your instrument. Shape your personal path towards success in a way that reflects your dreams, values, and daily responsibilities. Stoicism is not rigid, it's flexible. Mold it to suit your unique life. Stay passionate about your Stoic practice and keep your routine consistent and firm. This philosophy paves the way for deep transformation and true personal expansion. Bring Stoic wisdom into every dimension of your life. Let the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance guide your relationships, your career, and your personal pursuits. In an unpredictable and ever-changing world, Stoicism offers you equilibrium, resilience, and inner peace. Embrace life with intention and insight as you travel this ancient path. Move forward with resolve and strength. Wisdom will be your close companion, and each new day will become a fresh opportunity for growth and understanding. May clarity and serenity accompany you always on your journey to a life of meaning and fulfillment. Practice gratitude every day. Wake up with a heart overflowing with joy and abundance, guided by the light of the 4 cardinal virtues. Turn your awareness to the blessings that fill your life. You'll soon find that sincere appreciation can dissolve dissatisfaction and pacify restless desire. In this state of heartfelt thankfulness, you'll greet each new day with a spirit of joy and completeness. Focus your mind on what truly matters. Make it a habit to give thanks for every positive thing and be grateful constantly, knowing that all experiences have contributed to your evolution and all are worthy of your appreciation. As Emerson once suggested, prepare for your day by engaging in negative visualization. Picture potential obstacles and setbacks, but do not fear them. You are equipped to face them with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By imagining these situations and their possible results, you develop a quiet resilience, ready to adapt and overcome whatever life may present. This exercise strengthens your ability to remain calm amidst uncertainty, unaffected by its turbulence. Now, it's time to bring your insights and reflections to life through writing. Journaling is a profoundly powerful practice used by Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Dedicate a few moments each morning to express your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. In doing so, you create a flame of wisdom and warmth that will guide you through the challenges of the modern world. As we navigate the ever-shifting terrain of daily existence, we may encounter trials that challenge our stability. But again, Stoicism offers the answer. Through its time-tested strategies, you will stay grounded, grow resilient, and walk through life with grace and strength. When stress emerges, remember that the power of reason and reflection resides within you. Center your attention on what is within your grasp and surrender what is beyond it. In doing so, you'll respond to pressure with calmness, endurance, and wisdom. The core task in life is to distinguish clearly between the things that are within your control and those that are not. Make it your mission to recognize this separation, because all that is good or bad lies not in the uncontrollable external world, but within your own choices. Your ability to choose defines your character. Let the teachings of Epictetus be your steady guide as you move forward with gratitude and resolve. Stoicism will walk beside you, offering its enduring wisdom. Rise each day with the assurance that it is another chance to learn, to grow, and to strengthen yourself. Embrace this life with focus and clarity as you follow the Stoic path toward purpose and fulfillment. Turn distractions into opportunities for greater effectiveness. In the hectic rhythm of modern living, distractions are always present. But as a committed Stoic, you cultivate temperance, practicing moderation and self-restraint. When distractions arise, welcome them without resistance, but gently return your attention to the task before you. This practice fosters an inner stillness and unleashes your mental strength to pursue your goals. In your relationships with others, exemplify the Stoic virtues of justice, wisdom, and compassion. Each interaction presents an opportunity to leave a lasting, uplifting impact. Be mindful of how your words and actions affect those around you. With every encounter, deepen your empathy and expand your understanding of the human condition. Today, you may face betrayal, selfishness, or rude disruptions. But remember, these actions stem from others' ignorance about what is truly good or bad. As for you, you've long recognized the noble nature of virtue and the baseness of vice. And with that insight, you can walk your path with dignity, understanding, and unshakable peace. I have come to deeply understand the essence of good and its noble character, just as I've grasped the base nature of evil and its unworthiness. I also recognize the true nature of the person who wrongs me. He is not my brother by blood, but as a fellow human being, he shares in reason and the divine. Because of this shared humanity, he cannot truly harm me. I will not allow myself to be pulled into what is demeaning or undignified. I also cannot harbor anger toward my brother, for both of us were created to cooperate. Like the feet that walk in unison, the eyelids that close together, or the upper and lower rows of teeth that work in harmony. Any act that causes obstruction or resistance between us goes against the natural order. Anger and resentment are merely forms of obstruction. Marcus Aurelius urges us to accept adversity and grow resilient through it. Life is a journey full of unexpected trials and difficult moments that either strengthen us or break us. Like a courageous figure from history, we must see every difficulty as an opportunity for development, cultivate inner strength, and face life's challenges with grace. Practicing negative visualization and relying on the inner resilience we've built over time will help us turn these trials into lessons, valuable milestones along our path to personal growth and deeper fulfillment. As the day draws to a close and the sun sets, prepare your heart for an evening of introspection and wisdom. Turn your gaze inward. Reflect on the events of the day. Look closely at the decisions you made, the obstacles you faced, and the lessons you gained. Seneca once said that he would keep a constant watch over his faults and, more importantly, that he would review each day. For it is this lack of daily reflection that keeps us stagnant. We focus too much on what's ahead and neglect what we've done. As a result, we fail to plan wisely. Forgive yourself for your missteps. Then continue on your journey of personal growth. Show yourself compassion, understanding that becoming better is a never-ending process. Learn from your errors and dedicate yourself to improvement. In doing so, you nurture inner peace and self-acceptance as you move forward. With the wisdom gained today, set clear intentions for the coming dawn. Let your actions and choices reflect the virtues you've acquired. In this way, you will craft a life of purpose and harmony, grounded in the principles of Stoicism. As night falls, allow yourself to rest. Engage in calming rituals such as deep breathing or guided visualizations. Ease your mind and body, releasing the weight of the day, and surrender to restorative sleep, ready to embrace tomorrow as yet another chance to grow, to learn, and to live more meaningfully. Life seems to offer us a mix of the best and the worst. There are moments of joy, fulfillment, love, health, and happiness, but also periods marked by suffering, loss, illness, and misfortune. Sometimes life appears just, other times unjust. It resembles a river whose flow we cannot direct, and often we find ourselves being swept away. Epictetus wisely advised not to resist the threads of destiny, but to embrace them. Only in acceptance can we discover peace. Within Stoic thought, this act of embracing fate is known as amor fati, a love for one's own fate. It means accepting your life entirely, with all its highs and lows, as the most perfect gift you could ever receive. This idea may sound simple in theory, but feels nearly impossible in practice. How can we possibly love suffering or find grace in tragedy? Yet, amor fati is not about blindly adoring pain. Rather, it's a calm, reasoned acceptance of every part of life. It means seeing both joy and suffering as opportunities for transformation, chances to grow wiser, stronger, and more understanding. Instead of resisting or complaining, Stoicism teaches us to welcome hardship as a natural and essential part of our journey. By meeting all aspects of life with serenity and gratitude, we not only find inner peace, but also develop the strength to handle whatever comes our way. In this sense, amor fati becomes a guiding light, a symbol of resilience that helps us navigate life's turbulent waters. Still, a question arises. How can we possibly feel grateful for something like the death of a loved one? How do we find beauty in sorrow? To many, the Stoics might seem out of touch for proposing such a philosophy. But they knew exactly what they were advocating. To be a Stoic, as Marcus Aurelius was, is to embrace life in its totality, to love one's existence completely, both the light and the shadow. Every dark moment holds the potential for virtue and true happiness. Aurelius said that we must love our fate, regardless of its form. Only by accepting each moment as it is can we achieve serenity. This love for life includes even our flaws and failures, for they are the very things that shape us, that teach us, and that deepen our understanding. The doctrine of amor fati is undoubtedly among the most challenging practices in Stoicism. But difficult doesn't mean impossible. It means it requires great effort, and the things that require the most effort are usually the ones of greatest value. Within amor fati, much of our happiness lies, and so it is well worth pursuing with every ounce of strength we have. In this video, I want to help you embody the practice of amor fati so that you can grow in virtue and discover true happiness. To do so, I'll divide our discussion into two parts. First, we'll explore what destiny means from the Stoic perspective and why it is something to be embraced. Then, I'll offer 5 practical steps to help you apply this doctrine in your life and persevere in it. The ancient Stoics didn't believe in randomness or chance. For them, everything in the universe followed necessary, rational laws set forth by the divine. The cosmos was seen as a unified whole, where every part moved in perfect harmony. Thus, everything that happened had a reason, a purpose, and was aligned with a greater logic. This same rational law, the Stoics believed, lives within us. It is part of our conscience. It gives us the ability to recognize what is virtuous and what is right. When we live in alignment with this inner law, we become rational and virtuous beings. But when we stray from it, when we act against what our conscience knows to be right, we become irrational. And so we distance ourselves from the divine plan the universe has laid out for us. That plan is what the Stoics called destiny. Our personal destiny is but a thread in the vast tapestry of the cosmos. Every experience we go through, good or bad, plays a necessary role, even if we can't always understand or control it. Everything obeys a greater logic. It all holds meaning, even when it seems senseless. That's why we must make the effort to look beyond our personal struggles, to embrace the natural order, and to live with calm acceptance. That is what it means to love your fate. It is also essential to distinguish acceptance from resignation. Resignation is passive. It means giving up, refusing to take action when we're unhappy with a situation. Acceptance, by contrast, is active. It acknowledges reality and chooses to respond wisely. A true Stoic avoids resignation and pursues acceptance. In doing so, the Stoic applies the core dichotomy of control. Most events in the world, our health, the behavior of others, natural disasters, even death, are outside our control. Since we can't change them, we must not let them disturb our peace. What is within our power is how we judge these events and how we choose to respond. As Epictetus wisely put it, while the will cannot control the world, it can control itself. That alone is a profound power. We always have the ability to choose our attitude and our actions in response to what happens. We can either accept our destiny and use it to grow, or we can reject it and descend into bitterness. For the Stoics, the true nature of good and evil lies not in external events, but in the quality of our will. As Marcus Aurelius said, the essence of good and evil resides in how we respond. That means in every situation, the choice is ours, to act with virtue or to fall into vice. If illness strikes, we can either seek recovery and live fully despite it, or surrender to frustration and neglect. When we pursue virtue, when we align our choices with reason and conscience, then everything that happens enriches us. Whether pleasant or painful, each moment becomes a tool for growth. And by doing so, we progress toward the 4 Stoic virtues and begin to master ourselves. Life, whether filled with joy or pain, enriches our experience and shapes us into better versions of ourselves. Through it all, we are steadily refined in the practice of the 4 Stoic virtues. When we encounter good times, we experience genuine joy. Yet we must always keep in mind that these moments are fleeting. As mentioned in my previous video on the virtue of temperance, we must remember, this too shall pass. In the same way, the hardships and trials we face will also come to an end. Though they test us and often seem unbearable, they ultimately strengthen our character and mold us into better human beings. Hardships are not just unavoidable, they are essential. In many ways, they are even more critical than moments of comfort and ease. To truly live the Stoic ideal of amor fati, the love of one's fate, we must embrace the virtue of courage. Courage allows us to face life's storms head-on, no matter how sudden or severe they may be. When we practice amor fati, we also cultivate the virtues of justice and wisdom. We learn to respond to every situation with what is appropriate and just, and we begin to recognize the rational order that governs the universe, an order that transforms our personal destiny into the most profound and precious gift we could receive. This doctrine of amor fati activates all four Stoic virtues and calls us to live from the highest part of ourselves. It urges us to not only accept our fate, but to love it, because it is through embracing our unique path that we find the most powerful opportunity to strive toward virtue and a fulfilled life. Consider this: a life without struggle, without the pursuit of true happiness, would be a life without meaning. Isn't it true that no happiness exists without some form of sacrifice and surrender, without a deep acceptance of what has been given to us? We are called to love our destiny and align our will with what reason dictates. This alignment, this harmony between desire and reality, is the Stoic road to authentic and lasting happiness. To close this reflection, I want to share several powerful Stoic quotes that beautifully express the spirit of amor fati. Seneca once wrote that, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." He also reminded us that no one is more unfortunate than the man who is never touched by adversity, for he is denied the opportunity to be tested. Marcus Aurelius added that it is fitting for a man to love and to pursue whatever destiny has assigned him. Epictetus echoed this idea by advising us not to wish for events to unfold as we desire, but rather to desire events as they occur. Only then will life go well. What do you think of this Stoic doctrine of amor fati? Are you at peace with your destiny? Is there something in your life that you have been unable to accept? Or is there a moment that you've welcomed exactly as it happened? The one who recognizes the bonds that hold him is the one who can deliberately free himself from them. In our fast-paced and ever-changing world, we often fall into routines and behaviors that are not only unproductive but deeply harmful. The Stoics emphasize the power of focusing on what is within our control. That means freeing ourselves from destructive impulses and reclaiming our inner freedom. With that in mind, let me share with you 6 common destructive habits in today's modern world. These habits can undermine our peace, block our growth, and steer us away from a virtuous life. Before we explore them, I invite you to reflect honestly. Look at yourself from a third-person perspective. Ask yourself, which of these habits are affecting me? And then take full responsibility to address them with awareness and determination. The first habit is delaying our commitments. This subtle but dangerous behavior often goes unnoticed because it seems harmless. But procrastination has serious consequences. It causes us to neglect both personal and professional responsibilities and can degrade the quality of our work. Over time, it harms our credibility and the trust others place in us. The Stoics placed immense value on integrity and fulfilling one's duties. To them, procrastination was a deep form of disrespect, not only toward others, but toward oneself. It builds up stress and anxiety as unfinished tasks pile up and deadlines loom. This constant tension affects our mental clarity and physical well-being. Imagine you have an important project due. Rather than breaking it into manageable tasks across several days, you delay until the last minute, creating unnecessary pressure and chaos. This habit works directly against the Stoic principles of discipline and self-respect. Procrastination leads to wasted time, unmet goals, and increased inner turmoil. The solution lies in planning, self-discipline, and staying grounded in our responsibilities and values. One helpful strategy is to avoid making promises when you're overwhelmed by emotions, especially moments of excitement. In those highs, we tend to commit impulsively without thinking things through. Take time to evaluate commitments in quiet solitude and be cautious about promises made in euphoric states. The second habit is lying. Lies are often born out of fear, and the person who lies becomes ensnared in the very trap they set. Dishonesty harms truth and destroys integrity, two values the Stoics held sacred. When we lie, we abandon our commitment to virtue and compromise the strength of our character. Beyond that, lies eat away at our relationships. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. The Stoics understood that mutual respect and truthfulness were the foundation of all meaningful connections. Lies weaken those bonds and damage not only how others see us, but how we see ourselves. The third habit is blindly believing everything we hear without questioning it. This behavior shuts down critical thinking and leaves us open to manipulation and misleading information. In a world flooded with opinions and noise, it is essential to verify facts, examine sources, and develop independent judgment. A person without their own criteria for understanding is constantly tossed around by the views of others. Without a strong inner compass, we risk making poor and even harmful choices. The fourth habit is the lack of communication skills. In both personal and professional settings, communication is essential, and yet, in today's world, meaningful conversation is becoming rare. Many people speak without truly listening. This lack of genuine communication leads to misunderstandings, conflict, and emotional distance. The Stoics emphasized harmony and cooperation, both of which rely on clear and respectful dialogue. If we can't express our needs or understand the needs of others, we damage our relationships. Improving your communication starts with expanding your vocabulary and consuming thoughtful, meaningful content. One of the most powerful tools is active listening. Instead of thinking about your reply while someone else is speaking, focus entirely on their words. Listen with your full presence. This not only improves the flow of conversation, but makes the other person feel heard and respected. With consistent effort, your communication will evolve and reach a higher level of excellence. The fifth habit is constantly comparing ourselves to others. While comparison is a natural human tendency, it becomes toxic when it turns into an obsession. Constant comparisons breed dissatisfaction, envy, and low self-esteem. We stop appreciating our own path and fixate on what others have. This mindset clouds our ability to feel gratitude and pushes us toward imitation instead of authenticity. Trying to be like others steals away the beauty of who we truly are. The antidote is to embrace gratitude, develop self-acceptance, and find value in our personal experiences and achievements. When we stop measuring our worth against others, we cultivate a healthier, more empowering perspective on life. The sixth and final habit is the absence of personal boundaries. Without clear limits, we risk damaging our emotional and mental well-being. Setting boundaries is vital for maintaining healthy relationships and preserving inner peace. The Stoics taught the value of self-control and discipline, qualities that are reinforced by strong boundaries. When we fail to define what is acceptable in our lives, we open ourselves to stress, resentment, and imbalance. In embracing the Stoic path, we must be vigilant about the habits we allow into our lives. By recognizing and confronting these destructive patterns, we reclaim our power to live with virtue, clarity, and purpose. Setting boundaries is essential for nurturing healthy relationships and safeguarding our emotional and mental well-being. The Stoics held self-discipline and self-control in high regard as key components of a virtuous life. Without personal boundaries, we leave ourselves open to exploitation and emotional fatigue, which can lead us to feel overwhelmed and disconnected from our own lives. It's vital to develop the ability to say no when necessary. Establishing clear boundaries in both our relationships and our daily routines not only preserves our inner peace, but also enhances our connections with others by creating clear expectations and a shared understanding. When we embrace self-acceptance and commit to setting healthy boundaries, we align our lives more closely with our core values and build deeper, more fulfilling relationships. In conclusion, the 6 harmful habits discussed here can obstruct our peace of mind, hinder our personal development, and prevent us from leading a life grounded in virtue. By becoming conscious of these behaviors and intentionally working to overcome them, we foster a more constructive mindset, enrich our relationships, and cultivate a more harmonious life. The ongoing practice of self-acceptance, combined with gratitude, open communication, and the establishment of personal boundaries, supports us in living in accordance with Stoic ideals. Through this path, we find greater satisfaction and joy in our everyday existence. Often we find ourselves trying to outperform others, a repetitive habit that can chip away at our self-worth and diminish our contentment. The constant act of comparison breeds dissatisfaction, as there will always be someone who seems to possess more wealth, talent, or success. Stoic philosophy encourages us to direct our focus inward, toward our own growth and progress, and to appreciate what we already have instead of endlessly comparing ourselves to others. Spending too much time trying to fit in with others can cause us to lose touch with our identity and personal authenticity. In an attempt to meet external standards or expectations, we may alter who we are, but this isn't sustainable in the long run. Pretending to be someone else eventually unravels, revealing your true self. The Stoics advocate for staying true to who we are and living in harmony with our personal values and principles. Imagine always comparing yourself to your co-workers and feeling as though you never measure up. This continuous comparison leads to burnout, disillusionment, and unhappiness, pulling you further from your authentic self. The habit of comparing yourself to others is deeply damaging. It distances you from who you are at your core. But this can change the moment you realize it's not worthwhile to be constantly focused on others, especially when everything you need already resides within you. And if not, you can always seek it elsewhere. Comparison becomes futile because you'll never possess everything. True happiness comes when you shift your focus to becoming better than who you were yesterday, competing only with your past self. In today's world, many people tend to seek external sources to blame for their problems. In our modern society, there's a strong tendency to assign responsibility to others for the difficulties we face, rather than taking ownership ourselves. This mindset robs us of control and independence. When we blame others for our circumstances, we surrender our power to shape our lives. The Stoics emphasize the importance of recognizing what lies within our control and what does not. Losing sight of this distinction leads us down the path of victimhood and emotional dependence, where our inner stability relies entirely on others. When we go through life pointing fingers at external sources, we miss out on the opportunity to reflect on our own mistakes and learn from them. This pattern strips away personal responsibility. The Stoic teachings urge us to understand and accept what is within our power, and to reclaim our agency by refusing to fall into the trap of blaming others. As individuals of worth, we must become conscious of these harmful behaviors and commit to rising above them in order to live a life marked by virtue, wisdom, and serenity. Take time to reflect on how these patterns may show up in your own life. You are not chained to them. You have the power to liberate yourself. From this point forward, the path is yours to create. Moral growth isn't about completely discarding old beliefs, but about critically evaluating them, deciding which ones should remain, which to let go of, and what new values ought to be woven into your ethical code. Many of these guiding principles carry strong Judeo-Christian influences: the practice of forgiveness and the willingness to offer it, treating others as you wish to be treated, resisting the desire for what belongs to someone else, and deeply appreciating the blessings life brings. Keep in mind that we often suffer more in our imaginations than in actual reality. Remember to follow our daily Stoic reflections on TikTok, as well as on our other social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Let me take you back in time to the city of Chipre, around the year 300 BC. There lived a wealthy merchant named Zeno. During a trading journey from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his ship sank, taking with it all of his valuable cargo. This devastating loss occurred due to forces entirely beyond his control. Now imagine you are Zeno. How would you respond if everything you had worked for vanished because of an act of nature? Would you feel betrayed by life? Would frustration and anger consume you? These are common emotional reactions for most people, but not for Zeno, the man who would go on to found Stoicism. For him, even a small shift in perspective could bring about profound and lasting transformation. At its core, Stoicism is the embodiment of acceptance and equanimity. After immersing himself in the writings of Socrates and other great thinkers, Zeno went on to establish and share the teachings of Stoic philosophy. While we may not be able to control many events in our lives, we always retain the power to determine how those events affect us. The key lies in using that inner control wisely. Rather than mourning what was lost, whether it be spilled milk or, in Zeno's case, sunken treasures, he chose to remain calm and composed, facing the situation with neutrality. Today, Stoics are often seen as individuals who rarely fall into emotional extremes, people who don't erupt in anger or collapse under anxiety. But the original vision of Stoicism runs much deeper. It offered a complete worldview, a lens through which to understand life, one that has endured for thousands of years. Stoic philosophy is just as applicable to modern challenges as it was in ancient times, and its benefits remain just as powerful. Stoicism helps us process adversity and emotional turmoil, transforming them into insights that grant us a richer understanding of the world. Perspective is everything. Everyone experiences life differently, so each person carries a unique viewpoint. The early Stoics would gather in public spaces to debate, teach, and share philosophy openly. Their teachings weren't reserved for the elite. They believed Stoic wisdom could serve anyone, from slaves to emperors. Some of the most celebrated Stoics in history include Epictetus, a former slave who became a great philosopher, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor known for his profound introspection and leadership. The early practitioners of Stoicism lived by their principles. They rejected all forms of segregation and championed equality. In fact, they coined the term cosmopolitan, which means citizen of the world. At that time, women were often excluded from philosophical pursuits, but Stoics strongly opposed this notion. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, once declared that the desire and capacity for virtue are just as present in women as they are in men. He believed women were no less capable of noble and righteous action and were equally inclined to reject what was unjust. So why do so many people today choose to embrace Stoicism? In a world full of unpredictability, our emotional responses often become obstacles. In truth, we don't suffer simply because bad things happen to us. We suffer because we didn't expect them to happen. Getting caught in the rain without an umbrella is never a pleasant experience, yet we don't burst into tears when the rain begins. Why is that? It's because even when the circumstances are less than ideal, we've come to understand that rain is unavoidable. We can't control the weather. Eventually the rain will pass and the sun will shine again. Stoicism teaches us to embrace this same mindset toward life itself. We should expect all things, including the unpleasant ones, to come and go. One of the practical teachings of Stoicism involves embracing discomfort. This exercise is voluntary and serves a powerful purpose. It builds gratitude. Whether it's sleeping on the kitchen floor, taking cold showers when you're used to warm ones, or eating only potatoes for a few days, these experiences help you realize that even in difficult circumstances, you can survive and maybe even grow stronger if your mindset is resilient. By choosing to endure discomfort, we're conditioning our minds to face future hardships with strength. In a world where advertisements constantly sell us the idea that happiness comes from having the best, whether it's the perfect look or a certain amount of money, the wisdom of Stoicism is more relevant than ever. We enter this world knowing little about it. We learn from our homes, schools, and personal experiences. But these sources often present conflicting teachings. When we try to merge all this information, we sometimes set unrealistic expectations for ourselves. Eventually, this leads to disappointment and a sense of dissatisfaction with life, a path no one should have to walk. Instead of chasing external validation, we should work on bettering ourselves for our own sake. Our actions should be done for their intrinsic value, not for external rewards or recognition. Depending on external outcomes or placing our happiness in the hands of others often leads to disappointment. Sometimes we try to fill the void within by buying a luxury car, a beautiful house, or even by starting a family. Not because we truly desire these things, but because of what we think. They dedicate themselves fully to their craft, so much so that they sometimes forget to eat or wash. Their respect for their work runs deeper than a sculptor's reverence for his statue or a dancer's love for the dance. They aren't driven by money when they are truly immersed in their calling. In fact, they'd rather give up food or sleep than abandon the pursuit of their passion. When Marcus Aurelius spoke about work, he wasn't just referring to a profession or career. He was talking about the daily duties every human being must fulfill, our responsibility to live each moment with intention and integrity. This reflection is a reminder to take ownership of our time and our actions. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius had failed to do so. Had he not embraced his responsibilities, he may never have been remembered as one of the 5 good emperors of Rome. As an emperor, he had a government to lead, tasks that could not be left undone, because the welfare of an entire empire depended on his leadership. The same principle applies to our own lives. We weren't born to exist like idle plants, free from accountability. We are human beings, and with that comes the need to live with purpose and duty. Don't let the fleeting pleasures of the moment cloud your judgment. There is no feeling quite like knowing you've acted rightly and taken responsibility. Nothing compares to the deep sense of fulfillment that comes from completing a task well. You must rise. You must begin your work. Do not abandon what needs to be done. Your time is now. None of us knows how much time we truly have. Marcus Aurelius wrote these reminders to himself in his personal journal, and we should follow his example. When morning comes and you find it difficult to rise and meet your obligations, whether you're already longing for the weekend or dreading that it's Monday, think of his words. Here are 10 historical quotes to help you begin your day with strength. The only way to happiness is to stop worrying about things beyond the reach of your will, said Cicero. Start your day by remembering that true strength lies within. We are not disturbed by things, but by the view we take of them, wrote Epictetus. Happiness resides in virtue and virtuous action, taught Aristotle. Don't wait for events to unfold as you wish. Instead, wish for them to unfold as they do, and your life will be peaceful. Another gem from Epictetus. It's not the man who has too little, but the one who craves more, who is poor, observed Seneca. The mind is everything. What you think, you become, said Buddha. Life is simple, but we insist on making it complicated, said Confucius. And once again, Seneca reminds us, it is not the man who has little, but he who desires more, who is a slave. As Joyce Meyer puts it, you can't live a positive life with a negative mind. If you're watching this video, it's likely that procrastination has become a major struggle in your life. For many, it's at the root of their biggest problems. When we put off doing what we know must be done, consequences begin to build. Productivity drops, anxiety creeps in, responsibilities pile up, and worst of all is the nagging feeling that you're not living up to your potential. The Stoic philosophers understood this all too well. Think of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, men with great burdens, yet no room for procrastination in their lives. It's not an easy battle. We naturally prefer immediate gratification over effort, but I've already spoken in detail about this in my video on discipline, which I encourage you to watch after this one, because discipline and overcoming procrastination go hand in hand. If you're still watching this, it's because you want to change. You want to reclaim your time, to become the master of your mind and your actions. Conquering procrastination won't just make you more productive. It will bring you inner peace. You'll feel aligned with your purpose, acting in accordance with your values. It may seem hard to believe, but Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and Stoic philosopher, had the exact same 24 hours in a day as you and me. And yet, he governed the most powerful empire of the ancient world, cared for his family, crafted laws, presided over trials, led military campaigns, and guided his people through a devastating plague, all while remaining just and virtuous. How was this possible? The secret to his success lay in his commitment to structure. He built a routine and cultivated habits that enabled him to overcome laziness and resist procrastination. For Marcus, fulfilling his duties became as essential as eating, bathing, or sleeping. They were a part of him. The Stoics, much like Aristotle, believed that we become what we consistently do. Excellence, therefore, is not a single act, it's a habit. Marcus Aurelius started his days early, at dawn. He understood that getting out of bed was part of his obligation as a human being. There was no time to waste. He began his mornings writing in his personal journal, taking a few moments to reflect, to clear his mind, and to remind himself of what truly mattered. Then he braced himself to meet the day and all the people it would bring. He reminded himself that many of those he would encounter would be rude, dishonest, or irritating. But he also reminded himself that their behavior could not be allowed to disturb his peace or judgment. His focus remained on doing what he believed was right. Once he finished his morning reflections, he tackled his most important responsibilities first, while he was still fresh and focused. He treated each task as if it were the most crucial of all. So if you're battling procrastination, the key lies in creating a routine and turning your obligations into non-negotiable habits. In doing this, you follow the example of the Stoics, men who discovered the path to productivity and inner peace through discipline and purpose. Remember this: excellence is not a one-time act. It's a habit. Begin developing those habits today and free yourself from procrastination. Here are 7 practical strategies that can help you overcome procrastination, grouped into 2 main areas. The first focuses on preparing the mind, while the second deals with actionable steps you can take. To prepare your mind, first shift your focus. Procrastination is often a luxury of the developed world. We do it because we can afford to. What we need is a stronger sense of urgency about our responsibilities. Set your own deadlines. This can boost your drive to act. Enlist a friend or family member to help keep you accountable. Having consequences for missed deadlines can also increase motivation. Avoid distractions that don't add value. When we procrastinate, we usually turn to low-quality distractions, things that waste our time without offering true joy or benefit. Worse, we don't even enjoy them fully, because deep down, we know we're avoiding what we should be doing. Work first. Enjoy later. Reorganize your responsibilities. Some tasks seem too long or too complex, which can feel overwhelming and trigger procrastination. If I asked you to work for 5 hours without distraction, it might seem impossible. But could you work for 1 hour? Likely yes. What about just 5 minutes? Absolutely. Everyone can focus for 5 minutes. Use this logic to your advantage. Break big tasks into small, manageable pieces. This makes the work feel less daunting and easier to begin. Now for the actionable part. Every procrastinator knows that the hardest part is starting, but once you take that first step, the rest becomes easier. Don't think about how long it will take or how hard it might be. Just begin. That initial push is the most challenging and also the most powerful. It leads to the next step and the next until the work is done. Don't focus on the end result or the complexity. Just begin. The first step may be the most difficult, but it's also the most powerful because it sets everything in motion. Once you begin, you naturally feel inclined to keep going, especially since starting over again later is usually even harder. One simple but powerful tool for getting started is the 5-second rule. This is a technique I personally use to take immediate action. It involves counting down from 5 to 0, and the moment you reach 0, you begin the task. The idea is to empty the mind, bypass hesitation, and take action without allowing your thoughts to interfere. I use this strategy every time I face something uncomfortable. When I count to 5, I don't think, I just move. This helps me bypass anxiety and build momentum before fear or doubt can creep in. Another valuable method is the Pomodoro technique. This strategy makes work time feel less overwhelming by breaking it into smaller, more manageable chunks. Facing a task that takes 5 straight hours can be intimidating, but by dividing it using the Pomodoro method, it becomes easier to handle. The technique involves working in focused intervals of 25 minutes, followed by 5-minute breaks. Each of these sessions is called a Pomodoro. After completing 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break of 20 minutes. Everyone can stay focused for just 25 minutes, and by doing 4 of these, you end up with 1 hour and 40 minutes of highly productive work, followed by a restorative break. Facing nearly 2 hours of non-stop work is daunting and can lead to procrastination, especially if you're not fully focused. But by tackling the work in small blocks, you're far more likely to stay energized and engaged. To be truly productive, you must eliminate distractions. Our brains naturally seek the path of least resistance, so if your workspace includes your phone, video games, or anything that can pull your attention away, you're setting yourself up to procrastinate. Design an environment that makes procrastination difficult and focus easy. Start by identifying what's pulling your attention away and remove those distractions from your workspace. Create a space where the only logical next step is to complete your task. This requires discipline and a genuine desire to change. All the techniques mentioned above rely on your willingness to take responsibility and apply them consistently. Now let's shift our attention to a fascinating and timeless concept from ancient philosophy: solitude. The Stoics viewed solitude not as something to avoid, but as a powerful tool for self-discovery and inner growth. In a world overwhelmed by noise and distraction, they saw solitude as a sacred teacher, offering clarity, peace, and the chance to confront ourselves honestly. Solitude was deeply valued in Stoicism. Unlike modern views that often associate loneliness with sadness, the Stoics regarded it as a precious space for reflection, moral development, and truth. In solitude, we shed the societal masks we wear and come face to face with our true emotions, desires, and values. It was in these quiet moments that Stoics found clarity and direction. A key concept in Stoicism is self-sufficiency. The Stoics believed in cultivating inner independence and emotional resilience. Solitude supported this by removing us from the pressures and opinions of others, allowing us to find peace and happiness from within. It gave rise to a kind of inner strength that could not be shaken by the ups and downs of external life. Solitude also nurtures deep self-awareness. It provides a safe space to turn inward and explore the corners of our mind and heart that often go unnoticed. Like a mirror, solitude reflects our inner truth, helping us to observe our fears, aspirations, and emotional patterns without outside interference. When alone, we can truly examine who we are and what drives us, free from judgment or expectation. The development of autarky, or self-sufficiency, was another major theme among the Stoics. They often asked, how can we achieve inner peace without relying on external events? The answer, they believed, lay in solitude and the independence it fosters. Being alone helps us detach from worldly distractions and reconnect with our core. It's in solitude that we learn to reduce the influence of outside circumstances and develop stability within ourselves. Another vital topic is emotional mastery. Solitude can help us navigate our emotions with calm and clarity. The Stoics saw emotions like waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes stormy, but always part of life. However, they also believed in not becoming slaves to these emotions. Solitude offers a safe environment where we can explore our feelings without external judgment or pressure. It becomes a space where we can observe and understand our emotional reactions rather than being swept away by them. Imagine solitude as a mental laboratory where you can observe your emotions from a distance. When alone, we can view our emotions with detachment, like watching clouds move across the sky. This distance helps us respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It allows us to act from wisdom instead of being controlled by fleeting moods. The Stoics developed powerful techniques for emotional regulation. One of these was premeditatio malorum, the anticipation of adversity. By imagining difficult scenarios in advance, they prepared themselves to meet challenges calmly and rationally. Another method was memento mori, meditating on death, which helped them put their worries in perspective and embrace the present with gratitude. The Stoics believed we could transform emotional energy into virtues. Fear could become courage, anger could be molded into discipline, and sadness could evolve into resilience. Solitude provided the mental space to reflect, understand, and redirect our emotional energies toward personal growth. Clarity in decision-making is another benefit of solitude. In today's noisy world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by endless choices and the opinions of others. Solitude acts as a compass. It silences the outer world so we can hear our inner voice. When we're alone, we can think clearly, weigh our options, and make decisions rooted in self-awareness rather than external pressure. Solitude also serves as a refuge during difficult times. Imagine it as a quiet shelter amidst the storm of life. When overwhelmed by expectations or stress, withdrawing into solitude gives us the opportunity to regroup emotionally and mentally. In this private space, we can process what we're experiencing, find comfort, and summon the strength to move forward with courage. The Stoics also viewed adversity as a chance to strengthen the soul. In solitude, we can adopt this perspective more easily by reflecting deeply on life's trials. We can ask ourselves powerful questions. What can I learn from this situation? How can I grow from it? In doing so, we transform hardship into a path for cultivating patience, resilience, and discipline. Let's go a step further and consider solitude as a space for mental training. Just as athletes train their bodies, Stoics used solitude to train their minds. They practiced imagining future obstacles and rehearsing how they would respond with strength and composure. This mental preparation, done in solitude, built emotional endurance and independence. Through this spiritual exercise, they developed the power to remain calm and grounded no matter what life threw at them. In solitude, we don't just escape the world. We prepare ourselves to re-enter it with greater wisdom, clarity, and strength. The Stoics knew that solitude, when embraced with intention, could be one of life's greatest teachers. This spiritual practice empowers us to face challenges head-on, ready to respond thoughtfully and with fortitude. Now, let's explore a topic that invites us to experience joy and fulfillment: the appreciation of simple things. Have you ever noticed how the constant pursuit of more can often prevent us from feeling truly happy? In solitude, we can learn to find happiness in simplicity. Instead of always searching for something new or better, Loneliness offers us the opportunity to appreciate the small, often overlooked blessings of life. In solitude, we can enjoy the quiet beauty of a sunrise, the warmth of a cup of tea, or the soothing sound of rain falling. By recognizing the value in these small moments, we can cultivate a sense of contentment and joy in the present moment, allowing it to last much longer than fleeting external pleasures. When approached with intention and mindfulness, loneliness becomes a space where we can learn valuable lessons and foster personal growth. By adopting a historical perspective and practicing self-reflection during times of solitude, we can embark on a journey of self-discovery and develop greater self-sufficiency. In a world driven by consumerism and the constant search for novelty, figures from history remind us of the profound beauty found in simplicity. Solitude gives us the opportunity to distance ourselves from the noise of daily life and observe the small joys that we often overlook. It encourages us to enjoy the simple moments and find fulfillment in what we already have. The relationship between satisfaction and solitude lies in our ability to question our desires. In solitude, we can reflect on whether our wants are truly meaningful or if we are simply caught up in the relentless pursuit of more. This self-examination leads us to greater clarity and satisfaction, allowing us to distinguish between genuine needs and societal expectations. Gratitude is also a key theme in historical philosophy, and solitude provides the perfect setting for cultivating a thankful heart. In quiet moments, we can reflect on the blessings we have, our health, our relationships, and the comforts of life, recognizing that happiness is often found in the present, not in the distant future. Solitude also invites us to engage in internal dialogue, offering a space to examine our thoughts, desires, and values in a calm and reflective manner. Through this process, we can challenge our existing beliefs, entertain new perspectives, and transform these reflections into meaningful actions. As we explore these insights, we begin to apply them to our everyday lives, shaping a life that aligns with our true values. Moreover, solitude allows us to connect with the natural world and the vastness of the universe. In these quiet moments, we can gaze at the stars and feel a profound sense of belonging to something far greater than ourselves. This connection encourages deep reflection on our role in the universe and the impact of our choices on both our lives and the environment. It is through this understanding that we cultivate virtues like wisdom, patience, and inner peace, all of which help us navigate life's challenges with grace. In solitude, we are given the opportunity to reflect on how we can live virtuously in different circumstances, cultivating a sense of tranquility even in the midst of life's chaos. It serves as a guide on a noble path, helping us find peace and use our moments of solitude as an oasis for emotional renewal. When approached consciously, loneliness becomes a fertile ground for self-reflection, personal assessment, and ongoing improvement. Remember that solitude can be a powerful ally on the journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. By following in the footsteps of ancient philosophers and intentionally seeking moments of solitude, you can unlock opportunities for self-discovery, growth, and inner peace. Thank you for joining us on this philosophical journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube knows that this content is helpful to people like you. By doing so, we can continue creating more videos like this in the future.